Pretty slow news day. Nothing really going on. Promo code Slop, Underdog Fantasy. Let's pull it up. Let's go. Go on to Underdog. $100 deposit match. They have Best Ball Mania going on for the NFL. You can build a team for the entire NFL season on here. They also have Pick'em for your favorite NFL players. MLB Pick'em as well, higher, lower on their stats. You know the vibes. Promo code Slop. $100 deposit match on Underdog right now. They also have WNBA. They also have NFL season, so you can go on like all these player stats and do higher or lower. Sign up if you have not already, and we are about to slop it up big time. Promo code Slop. Give me 1 second, Dread. Need to finish this up, but so yeah, promo code Slop. I cannot hear you if you're talking, so you might be muted. I believe you are muted.
I was waiting for you to be done just so I could savor the moment.
All right. So Sam will be coming. Parm will be coming. We'll also have a special guest who is a Clippers fan that I've wanted to have on for a while to talk about this whole kind of. The Heat are interested in Harden? Show me real tweets, not fake tweets.
Every time I'm taking a drink of this soju, by the way, every time somebody says something insane.
Well, you're gonna be drunk tonight, probably, I would imagine. Yo, you're muted right now.
Yo.
What's going on, Clayton? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm in Poland right now.
Nice. So cheers, international slop going on the stream right now. We have Sam checking in. Parm will be in as well. The Clippers and Heat. So first off, this has been such a whirlwind of a fucking day, dude. Sam, you're muted, so if you're doing a bit, it's not going to work.
For everyone who can't see, he's doing his stepdad submarine stepdad.
What? No, I'm not doing a stepdad. Oh, no, I'm getting up right now. The slop is that my stepdad is dead. He was crushed in a submarine. Much like the chances of James Harden coming back to Philadelphia. Sorry that my stepdad died like my grandfather.
Hey, how was Blink 182?
It was great. It was great, man.
First off, I need to. I feel like I'm losing my mind a little bit because at first I was like, holy shit, dropping Dimes 20 was right. That was my first thought because I was literally making fun of him to my girlfriend as the story dropped as I got a notification. And I was like, oh my God, he was right. Harden actually did opt in. He is asking for a trade now. And obviously the number one team that has been linked to them is the Clippers, which is why I wanted to have you on, Clayton. So, Clayton, you do not want James Harden on the Clippers, to be totally clear. You don't want him in any capacity, or you don't want him if you're giving up players that you like, essentially, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, look. Well, no, I don't want him really. I don't want a big salary player like James Harden coming to a team with Kawhi and Paul George. It just feels like an absolute recipe for disaster. Then you bake in trading Terrence Mann as part of this, and it just feels bad. It just feels hopeless. And it feels like the last ounce of joy that Clipper fans really had, which was Terrence Mann's 41
He's your
point
Tyrese
exploit.
Maxey, yeah.
100%. And I've been advocating to try and pair those guys together because of the defense, the on-ball defense of Terrence Mann with the shooting of Maxey, I think could actually, and their age kind of timeline, athleticism, the joy that they play with.
And this would be this was the trade that we discussed before, which was Tobias Harris and Tyrese Maxey for Paul George that we discussed before. Now, I just want to get this out of the way for Sixers fans. You're not getting Paul George for 1 year of James Harden. I understand that Paul George is a free agent next summer. I understand that the Clippers might not want to extend him. James Harden cannot be extended. James Harden cannot be extended until next year.
You're getting 1 year.
This is a 1 year rental, and with Harden's history, you're not getting a star player back unless you have assets to include, and the Sixers don't, except for Tyrese Maxey, who they're not going to include in this trade. So there's that. Let's just get that out of the way. And Woj did go on ESPN and say that the Clippers don't want to trade any of their good young players, which is good news for the Sixers because they don't have good young players. Terrence Mann is 27 years old. Bones Highland has been up and down his entire career. Sixers don't have a use for Zubac anyway. I think that if a trade happens where it is the Sixers, what do the Heat have to offer? Tyler Hero? Like
Kyle Lowry
and expiring. The Sixers are not giving James Harden to. I just want to remind everyone who is a fan of another team we literally had 9 months of Ben Simmons not playing basketball so he could maximize the return for him. He's not taking Kyle Lowry's expiring contract and Duncan Robinson's contract. Even if they included Caleb Martin, he probably wouldn't do it. Like, Morey is going to try to maximize this thing as much as possible and flip whatever we get in another trade, I'm sure, to bring back someone. Now, I just want to say this. I need to rant for just a little bit on this.
Cook.
The Sixers being out on Bradley Beal instantly is one of the dumbest fucking things. I said it at the time, and it has aged so horribly, dude. You knew that Harden leaving wasn't a chance, and now you're going to get 25 cents on the dollar for a player who was, all-star level last year, and you had the opportunity to give them just Tobias Harris's contract to get Bradley Beal because he had a no-trade clause, and you didn't even fucking entertain it, knowing that ownership could possibly turn down a large extension for James Harden, which is what they did, and now you're stuck in a situation where you're not going to get enough back to really maximize this window with Embiid. Unless Maxey takes a massive leap next year, you're not going to be contenders. And you basically fucked it because you were like, no, we don't really like Bradley, but we don't want to pay Bradley Beal's contract. Like, the idea that you're not going to have to pay a ton of money for these guys is insane. And the fact that they threw it out there and said immediately we're not interested was ridiculous. So I'm just pissed because it's like you had the opportunity to get the in-house Harden replacement in Beal. And I know him and Maxey are a little bit redundant or whatever, but like you're not in an opportunity to be picky right now. So
you're not pondering the concepts and ideas that have been running through my head for the last hours.
I didn't even realize Parm was in here. I was like, who the fuck is
There's
that?
a certain arthritic mid-30s superstar
Malcolm Brogdon.
who loves Nick Nurse.
Yeah, Malcolm Brogdon.
And loves living at the beach. And you know what they say? They say Atlantic City, New Jersey is the San Diego of the East Coast. And that there's nothing he would love more than to ride New Jersey Transit an hour and 35 minutes to Philadelphia every single day.
So Kawhi is the Sixers, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah. No, but the real one I've been cooking up, the real war crime is that we are getting Darius Garland.
For 1 year of James Harden.
No. He's not going to Cleveland. LeBron is going to Cleveland. LeBron has been live in Bath, Pennsylvania. He's got the security guards outside the house in Akron, Ohio. He needs to be in the Cleve. They need to get rid of somebody.
Parm's cooking.
The Los Angeles Lakers love having hometown guys, hometown heroes, if you will, like James Harden.
Let's
and
go.
Anthony Davis.
Wow. I think Parm just solved everyone's issues.
Clearly, they don't care about like sitting games out or being fat or things of that nature. Otherwise, Anthony Davis wouldn't be on the team. You know?
All right,
Parm,
well,
can we send Parm
figured
to
it out.
Guantanamo?
No. Parm will be treasured forever on the stream. So Clayton, I know you're up late. It's like 1 a.m. in Poland where you are. So is the only deal that you think that you would be willing to do, because I've talked to Rob Flom, who might come on at the stream at some point tonight. I've talked to him about it as well. And he's like, no matter what happens, this is the Sixers and the Clippers. It's going to end poorly for both teams
100%.
because the history of both of these franchises is that whatever happens, just something goes wrong. Okay, so he mentions the Clippers are neck deep, and it would be to form a big three. So pull away your Paul George trades. Of course, the Sixers.
No, that's not happening. The Paul George trade isn't happening.
In what world do the Sixers have enough leverage to acquire Paul George?
Yeah, the big three of Paul George, James Harden, and Russell Westbrook. You know, the biggest three that there could possibly be.
I promise you, so many Clippers fans right now are so in on the $3.9 million Russell Westbrook deal. Him coming off the bench. There's a lot of Clipper fans who really want it, and you put Russ with Harden.
I am the Russ defender.
Yeah, Parm is our resident Russ defender.
I love Russ.
Well, he was very good for the Clippers, so you're on the right side of history. That is the truth. But with Harden, it's what it is it's ESPN. It's perfect ESPN material.
Yeah,
that's what they're going for. Hometown boys all together. You know, 4 hometown guys taking discounts to play together, and nobody's going to care. And they're going to flame out in spectacular fashion. So that's just what it's going to come down to. But what I want to know, though, is because I already know what Clippers fans think. They think Terrence Mann, which I'm on this team as well. Terrence Mann is our savior, and you can never trade him.
I just want to be clear here. Terrence Mann is 27 years old.
That's a fact.
Okay.
But he's like,
I know I sound insane about Tyrese Maxey sometimes. I get it. But
no,
Maxey's
I get it.
22.
Right. No. Terrence Mann is not young.
I also want to put this out there that Terrence Mann is a joy to watch. And if he were on my favorite team, I wouldn't trade him. I wouldn't trade him for fucking anything except for a superstar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And James Harden is a superstar?
I'm
not sure.
No. I mean,
he's a regular season something.
All-star. He's an all-star. Yeah. Like, he should have made the all-star team last year.
Yeah. They could have traded Terrence Mann for someone better a year ago, but now they're going to do it for a rental of James Harden. But from the Sixers' perspective, is Terrence Mann enough? Like Norm Powell, Marcus Morris, Terrence Mann, you feel like that's enough? That's going to get the deal done?
I guess my thing is, like, what's the other option here? Because this isn't like the Simmons situation a few years ago where, like, Simmons had 4 years left on his contract. In theory, he could be moved and he could have whatever. It's like Harden has 1 year left on his deal. A few days ago, he could have basically walked for nothing if we hadn't been in this situation. I am saying that I think that Morey will shop Harden around the league and try to maximize the return as much as possible if there's any team that's interested. And now that Harden's opted in, like, he doesn't have a huge say over where he ends up. But ultimately, how much is a team really going to be willing to give up if they know they're not sure that Harden even wants to be there? And the Clippers seem like the one team where he does want to be there. And while the Sixers have no leverage, they have to get something back that they can say, hey, we got X player back. And, like, I think that I'm probably overrate Mann a little bit just because I love his play style. And, like, you know, he's had moments in the playoffs. He proves that he can play in the playoffs. And he is kind of, you know, he's a little small. He's not like a full-on wing, but he's a guardish wing that can, do some. And yeah, teams know he has a preferred destination too, as Sham said. So, like, teams know he wants to go to the Clippers. So the Sixers don't have a ton of leverage in this situation, but I would imagine that they're trying not to take on a lot of salary. Like, Norm Powell has 3 years left on his deal.
Yeah,
so they probably try
he's an issue.
Flip that somewhere else because no one wants that contract. Sam, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, whenever you're ready, I have a war crime to pull up.
Pull up the war crime.
Let's see it, Sam.
So it solves all of these issues.
The moment you said solves all of it, it makes me very convinced it solves none of it.
No, it solves all of it.
All right, here we go.
There's more second
round. Get the fucking take this fucking down right now. No, absolutely not. No,
wait. I also have one.
Fuck you and your Malcolm Brogdon trades. Get out of here with this.
Wait, I have a better one.
We talked about Marcus Smart on the stream for like 2 fucking weeks.
Let me cook. I have the best war crime of all time.
Okay.
Hold on. How do I do this?
Yeah, here I'm taking mine off here.
I want the audience to know that and this is Dread speaking, will not be participating in these war crimes because I have no idea what a James Harden trade package looks like in this environment.
What am I doing here? What am I doing with this guy?
I'm so with you. I have no idea. Like I'll
say this much: if the offer from the Clippers back for James Harden is Robert Covington, Marcus Morris, and Norm Powell, James Harden will be sitting out the next season.
Yes.
That's what Morey will do. He'll say, "No, we're not doing that."
Can I say this though? In that war crime I just cooked up, I put Brogdon in there as a bit, but like you can do that with the Wizards. Like you can just do that trade.
Parm,
Sharks.
What is this?
Sharks. Edison, New Jersey is an hour and 9 minutes from the Wells Fargo Center.
What is in Edison?
Isn't that where
Carl
Kyrie's-
Anthony Towns.
Oh God.
Okay. All right.
The cat.
Cat.
They're ready to let him go. Alex Rodriguez. He's had enough.
You're unbelievable, dude. I was like, what is Edison?
He's had enough.
For those on audio tomorrow,
They need James. They
Google
need rental James to keep Anthony Edwards. They need to get rid of Cole Towns. It's the perfect. The Celtics got Kristaps Porzingis, and Daryl Morey says, "So can we? We can also get Kristaps Porzingis." You know, many things to consider, if you will. You know,
a tit for a cat, if you will.
There we go.
Okay, all right. I see Paul Hudrick and what he's saying here. This is directly from the front office, I'm assuming. But this is the thing. I do believe that this is the case. First off, I'm not saying I don't believe that Harden will ever play another game for the Sixers. I'm not saying that. I can't believe you, Parm. You're unbelievable. But I'm not saying that he will ever play another game for the Sixers, but I do believe that he will hold out and wait for a trade that he likes, which is going to hold up everything for the Sixers offseason again. Same thing that happened in 2021. When this thing broke, I was like, holy shit, excited, thought about like deals or whatever. But as more information came out, I'm like, who is trading a lot of stuff for a 1-year rental of James Harden? And like, just to go back to the Clippers part of it, which is where he wants to go, the Clippers have to take the risk because keep in mind, this is James Harden who has now requested 3 trades in 4 years, 3 trades in 3 years, really, from the Rockets, the Nets, and now the Sixers. And the Clippers now have to take a chance by giving up any value for a player. And maybe it is their all-in push to make the Kawhi Leonard, Paul George thing happen. But like, aren't they opening a new stadium in a few years?
Not in a few years, after next year.
Yeah.
So they need a star, not for next year, but for the following year.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, not the season coming up, but the next season.
And Paul George and James Harden could be free agents,
which means they will be getting extended, and it's all going to happen.
But Harden can extend until next offseason, is what I'm being told.
Yeah. So if Harden's opt-in means that he cannot negotiate an extension until the next year. So whoever's trading for him is trading for him under the conditions that they are either going to re-sign him as a free agent the following offseason, or they're accepting that it's a 1-year rental. Which, frankly speaking, I actually am more interested in Harden as a 1-year rental than anything else. Like,
I was going to say, is this the Hail Mary move to make everything work? Because the joke we've had forever with the Clippers is they keep trying to solve the point guard thing over and over when, like, I think the reality of the situation would probably be better if from the jump they just put ancillary pieces around Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Like, honestly, they tried to do, and like, it's just like if those guys aren't available, none of those moves matter. Like
plus Ty Lue,
yeah,
you know, it just destroyed the regular season. He took absolute flames to the regular season this year, and he just decided, like, I'm going down with Marcus Morris. I don't give a fuck. You know,
until the last 2 weeks of the regular season, basically.
He bombed the regular season. He basically admitted it. Like, I know we could go to other guys, but I'm just going to stick with these guys because I like them. What's he going to do? I mean, cutting down the amount of quality, quote unquote, players that the Clippers have will help them. And James Harden will help them win a lot more regular season games because they've had this problem of, I think their highest seed with Kawhi and Paul was the 4th seed.
Jeez.
So they just haven't been able to get to that, 2 seed, 1 seed, 50 plus wins. Like they need that to have a chance. So from that perspective, it helps. But my first thought is, isn't this going to put them over the second apron?
Yeah,
like
they're going to be.
done.
This is
Like,
them
this is
locking
it.
themselves.
This is it. Like
well,
Moussa
hold on.
Diabate, you were playing. Brandon Boston, you're in the rotation. Like that's how it's going to go.
In the future, it would. That next year, Harden only makes $35 million. So you're getting off. Essentially, you're getting off money in this trade in order to make the trade happen. Unless the Sixers are saying, we'll only take back 20-something million. Then which is like the max amount the Sixers have to, or the minimum amount the Sixers have to take back is like 27 or something, I believe. But like, I would imagine the salaries are going to come close to matching. And if that's the case,
Right.
It's not really going to affect where you are right now because you just let Eric Gordon go. And you might have to make some other moves. But we have Rob Flom here, who's also a Clippers writer. Rob, What are your thoughts on all this insanity that is happening? I DM'd you early in the day. I was like, is there any truth to this? And you're like, I mean, I don't know. It might just be leverage. And now we're here. And it sounds like Harden is probably going to be a Clipper.
Yeah, I mean, I think I started hearing stuff about Harden yesterday. There were some rumblings.
Rob is dropping dimes 20.
I'm hiding from the SWAT team.
Daryl's SWAT team is outside your house this week.
SWAT for Slop.
Yeah, but I think the holdup, and I've heard from a couple of people that it's like sometimes some people I think with the Clippers think they're being used for leverage. Maybe the Heat were just reported. I think Harden might want to go to the Clippers. But the question is like, how much leverage does James Harden have?
Yeah.
Right. Like if he's opted in, like he can just go back to the Sixers and he and Daryl Morey can stare at each other and be like, if the Clippers refuse to offer more than like Norm Powell and Marcus Morris, then Morey will be like, no, like I would literally rather have nothing or just have Harden sitting on the bench.
That's what I was trying to explain.
Yeah. But I do think his interest in the Clippers is really real. And to the point about like the Clippers locking themselves in and Harden being old and, collapsing the playoffs year after year, as we all know, like the Clippers already do all those things. So like, why not just add another element? And like the Clippers have just been like a complete mess the past year or two, right? Like, I think somebody was talking about Ty Lue and how Ty Lue tanked the season. There's been like a lot of rumblings about like issues between him and the front office and like the players in the front office. And like Harden, I think, guy who they could all get on board with, right? Like he's somebody who'd be respected by Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. He's somebody who would take the ball and notably pull out of Paul George's hands, who does not want that, even if he should. He's a guy who Ty Lue would be like, this is a point guard who like I can trust to run the offense, which is what he's been complaining about for 3 years. And then he's a guy who the front office would be like, he can actually shoot. He can space the floor. Like you like him next to those guys. So that is kind of the thing.
Importantly, good guy in the community, supports local small businesses. James Harden.
Yeah.
He's very well known. He boosts for the economy.
And most importantly,
than anybody else.
In LA, he will get a beautiful Ramona Shelburne puff piece. Let me tell you, it's going to be a legendary LA AAU puff piece about all these guys growing up together and the bond that they have.
Yep.
All
around
it's
the
going
same
to be
age.
legendary.
Southern California.
I was going to say, this is taking place in Napa for sure. There's going to be the wine is going to be
a wine trip.
Yeah.
Harden he has his own wine.
He's a wine guy.
Yeah.
Well, they might do. Yeah, they might even do like a LA banana boat. With these guys, right? Like the new banana boat crew.
These ideas are all great.
Can I ask a question to the experts without being rude? This is a genuine question. I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm actually trying to be genuine. When they say
everything you say makes it worse.
When they say the good young Clippers players, Who?
There are none. No, there
Is
are
it
none.
Brandon Boston who gets 6 fucking points a game? Is that who they're talking about? Like,
Terrence Mann.
who is it?
It is just
You-
Terrence Mann.
But
Terrence Mann is almost
27.
30.
27. Like he's like in the prime of his career, and like the same thing. Like I love Amir Coffey, but he's 25. Like he's not a young player. He's in the prime.
And
of his
also, you're
career.
the only
I think
person
he's
who
great.
isn't a
Like
Clippers
I love
fan.
Amir Coffey.
Yeah,
I
you're
like
the
Jason
only
Preston, but like
non-Clippers fan
Jason
who thinks
Preston's
that,
like an upside guy who like hasn't done anything. You have Bones. Like I think Bones is cool, but
But
like
Bones
he's
is a
Bones.
talented young player. He's
Yeah.
the one talented
Yeah.
young guy. And Zubats is still 26,
Yeah.
I think. So he's fairly young.
Zubac
know.
is spiritually 40.
He is, but literally he's fairly young. He's younger than Terrence Mann.
Did we say something about the Clippers needing quality young players?
enough. Oh, you're gonna send Peyton Pritchard.
No.
Aaron
No. This is the Celtics. I'm done with the Celtics bits. This is a framework I actually think makes
Okay,
sense.
Johnny Davis, let's go.
Johnny
To read
Davis.
this
Yeah.
for the audio
God
listeners,
damn it.
the Sixers would be getting Nicholas Batum, Monty Morris, DeLon Wright, and the 2029 first-round pick from the Clippers. The Wizards would get Norm Powell and Marcus Morris Sr., and the Clippers would get Johnny Davis and James Harden.
The Johnny Davis salary dump 1 year after being drafted.
What?
That's
If you think about it, Johnny Davis was in a Taco Bell commercial, and Nikola Jokic was drafted during a Taco Bell commercial.
it's basically the same thing.
Yeah, basically, you're getting Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, I mean,
boy,
it's totally
I
possible.
think-
Stun me if they
I think
did
this
get rid
war
of him.
crime
'Cause
is
I heard the
my,
Gus Unseld doesn't like
My
him.
timeout. So
Peace,
Good
Clayton.
evening.
Thank you for
Peace.
joining us. Get
I-
some
talk
sleep.
soon.
It's
I'm
1
also
a.m.
realizing-
do the rest.
I sent the pick to the wrong team, by the way. So this is Monty Morris.
Supposed to be at the Wizards are supposed to be getting the pick, is what you're saying.
Yes, exactly.
So effectively, this would be the Clippers getting Monty Morris and DeLon Wright.
And Nick Batum.
Nick Batum.
But I think this is right now. If James Harden gets traded right now, this is what the return you're getting. Like
Then he's not getting traded.
You're the sickest
what
fan
I'm
of all
saying.
time.
This
The
is
last
what
time
I'm
Nick
saying,
Batum
yeah.
was this high on the priority chart. He was on the Charlotte Hornets. In terms of getting like shots, that's the most shots he's had since he was on the Hornets with Marvin Williams.
that's so funny.
That's vile.
Really funny.
So yeah, I once again I don't see a trade happening unless if Terrence Mann is involved. Rob, how many picks can you guys trade? Can you trade 28 and 30 or just 30?
Yes, they can trade 28 and 30.
They could trade 28 and 30. He would. I think that Morey might consider it if he could get like Mann. He could get. He could. I don't know what we're gonna do with the Norm Powell contract because it seems like no one wants that, as we discussed. But the Sixers can take back. They could technically take back just Powell, Mann, and 2 firsts or whatever, and that could maybe work. But like once again, I think Daryl Morey's a sicko, and I think he's calling around the league trying to get every offer he possibly can. And I don't think teams are going to give up real value, as I stated before. I don't believe any of the Knicks stuff. I don't believe any of the Heat stuff. I think that those teams are just being thrown out there because they need more than just one team in order to have any sort of negotiations. You can't just have, oh, he's being traded to the Clippers. But like, I wouldn't be interested in anything less than what I just said, like Powell, Mann, and two firsts. Is that the real dropping times though?
Yeah, I was gonna
Like,
say, this could be someone who just picked up a
Yeah.
Exactly.
who just like
Yeah.
made an account. Yeah.
So, Trill, my thought is that at his floor. So this is why none of the trades that are being floated for Harden right now make sense to me, because at his floor, Harden is still a valuable expiring contract, which means his floor should be the value above the value that Tobias Harris would get you. And I still think that teams, like worst case scenario, trading for Harden just to get some money off your books is not the worst look for some teams. So like why would the Sixers accept reasonably bad deals when, again, like, I mean, so here's one. Would you do Julius Randle for Harden straight up?
No.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like,
But the Knicks also don't view that as bad salary. The Knicks don't view
I
Julius
forgot
Randle.
the Knicks are wrong.
Yeah, the Knicks like Julius Randle. Like, I don't think they're trying to trade him. Also,
I just don't think if it's a Clippers deal, like they have to unload their bet. There has to be a third team because I don't. They have too much like bad money that like the Sixers can't take back, and I think it's going to be the Wizards, and I think it's some version of like Monty Morris and DeLon Wright going because those are their two guys that can get aggregated that are actually useful. So. I don't know. Like
You don't
I
even
think
love me enough to pretend that we could get Kyle Kuzma, do you?
Kyle Kuzma's signing somewhere.
we also can't get Kyle Kuzma if. Hold on, you can't. This is very confusing, and it's gonna sound weird. You can't aggregate salary in a sign and trade unless you have salary cap space to sign that player. The Wizards do not have salary cap space to sign Kyle Kuzma. And then last year, when Colin Sexton was traded to the Jazz, the Cavs had the salary cap space to sign him due to the fact that he was coming off his rookie contract. I know this is confusing. Someone explained this to me yesterday.
Interesting.
You can only aggregate salary in a sign and trade if you're sending out the player who is a free agent, if you have the cap space to sign them, or they're like coming off a rookie deal or some bullshit, basically. I don't know. It's confusing, but Kuzma only makes $13 million. He's going to want a lot more. I know they have his bird rights and they can keep him, but not in a sign and trade. Yeah, it's very confusing. That's why I just we're not getting. Please don't send Vin Fosh stuff in here. He's not funny at all. So anyway, the thing is that he. So, once again, I don't really understand where the Sixers are going to go from here. But it ultimately, if you don't resolve this, I would say pretty soon, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a Joel Embiid trade request. Is Joel really going to sit around for another year of Morey just dicking around and being like, we're going to maximize the return? What are we doing here? Should you even bother with this?
No,
we thought we were in a position where everyone in the East got worse, so we were like, all right, well, maybe we can fucking have a chance next year. And now you're losing Harden. What other realistic path are we going to do here? Is Morey just going to sit on this for months again? Building around who?
Building around Bam.
They're not going to trade Bam, dude.
No.
I don't think they would trade Bam.
No. You're thinking trading Harden for Bam.
I'm
talking about Jimmy Butler being tired of Bam costing him 2 rings and finally getting
Bam was better than Jimmy in the finals.
Yeah, were we watching the same finals, Parm? Were we?
I mean, they probably would trade Bam for
triple doubles and 20 rebounds against a defensive specialist. I don't know. After the last time he got cooked by Anthony Davis, I don't know.
Injured in that finals, dude.
What?
He barely played in those five. He played 2 games.
Parm,
I think Parm's cooking here.
Parm, do you watch basketball?
He's cooking them. No, Parm is cooking here.
I am cooking.
Yes.
He loves being in South Beach.
You might be cooking with dry ice, though.
No, he's cooking.
I'll say this much: I think that the Miami Heat are probably in a situation right now where they're waiting for. I don't even believe that they're Harden suitors because I think they're genuinely just waiting for Dame.
I want to make it very clear. I actually think oh, go ahead. I apologize, Rob.
No, it's fine. If they didn't trade for Beal, I get Harden is better than Beal, but Beal is 5 years younger and would have probably required less than Harden. If they didn't want to trade for Beal, I don't know why they would want to trade more stuff for an older.
Well, was it the no trade clause though? Was he really that set on Phoenix? Maybe.
Also, I would also say the argument
might have been it.
From what it's being floated around recently, it's that the Miami ownership was not sold on the length of the Beal contract.
Yeah.
So I think that in that sense, Harden might be a better fit. But I think more importantly, perhaps, I just don't think. I think that all the Miami stuff is Harden agent leverage, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, they need to have multiple spots for him to land in order to have any sort of realistic deal that Morey could do. They understand that if Harden needs to go somewhere, there needs to be multiple offers on the table, and they can't so that Morey can't just hold him out and say it's whatever, like he did with Simmons, where he wasn't getting adequate offers back. Like,
right, exactly.
I don't know. This just feels like
The other thing is like
this.
like Harden, I think for him it's all about the years, right? Like,
Yeah.
and like he would need to have like a handshake deal with whatever team trades for him. Like, you will sign me, because he can't extend. It would be
Yeah.
like, Clippers, you guys are going to sign me to like a 3, maybe not a 4-year deal, but like at least like a 3-year deal at a lot of money. And like maybe the Clippers do that. I mean, I think the reason why I think the Clippers could be in it is like Kawhi and PG could also opt out next year. And like, I know somebody was talking about the new arena, and like they don't want to obviously be like awful, god awful for the new arena. But there have been some rumblings that the Clippers, and this would maybe go against the Harden trade and why I don't think they'd trade multiple firsts, is that they are like, and I know Zach Lowe has talked endlessly over the past week about like wanting to negotiate with PG and Kawhi, but like I think there's possibilities that the Clippers are like, we are not investing that many future assets in a PG Kawhi team. Like, if this year backfires again, they might just be done, and they might be like, you know what, we love you guys. You guys are committed to the Clippers, but if you guys are demanding like a 4-year max deal, like, bon voyage. Like, I don't think that'll happen, but I think that's the other thing with Harden is like, if he leaves after a year, like the Clippers could just have an entirely clean reset. And like the arena thing looks bad. But also like I maybe Ballmer will put too much pressure on the front office, but like, and I know like marketing and sales and advertising and sponsorships, like these are all more important parts of like deals and like how organizations work than just the basketball side. But like,
Right.
I think the Clippers could be like, hey, like we don't want to just be like a 44-win team with like these broken stars every year. If this year goes sideways, I think they would be willing to just jettison the whole thing, which would be different than like the Heat, where like I don't think the Heat would be like, you know, they have Bam and Butler for the long haul. Like the Clippers, I think would be okay with just taking the gamble. I don't think the Heat would on like a long-term deal. I
just don't understand how Daryl Morey, who is like rides and dies with James Harden, has gotten to the point where I understand that ownership is probably the one that doesn't want to give up this big contract for Harden. They don't want to give him multiple years, but like, it's kind of like what we said before, where it's like, you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, where we talked about this the other night. And it was essentially like, you have to look at the next year or two as like Embiid potentially asking out if you don't do anything in the next 2 years.
Can I give you my read on this, by the way, as far as what it means in terms of the relationship between ownership and Morey?
Yeah.
So I think what this means is that ownership was not willing to give Harden a longer deal than the leash they are giving Morey. For example, I think if it becomes a Joel Embiid fire sale and rebuild, I do not think Morey will be at the helm of that ship.
That's possible, but also like it just doesn't make any sense to me to go like, you either have to go all the way in or don't go all in at all.
I agree.
It just doesn't make any logical sense to say we're not going to pay James Harden for 4 years, but also we're going to try to build a competitive championship level team for a guy who has 1 year left that can extend, that has to opt into his contract. And as we know, we just saw what Porzingis opted in, and they got Tyus Jones back. Now, the gap between Porzingis and Tyus Jones is massive between those two players. Mm-hmm. The last opt-in and trade we saw a few years ago was Chris Paul. It was actually funny. It was Chris Paul. It was when he was it was the Clippers. It was the Clippers and the Rockets, actually. Morey was the GM of the Rockets. And also, if I remember correctly, Chris Paul was 33 years old, I believe.
It's a strange parallel.
Yeah. Why are you shocked by that, though?
Shocked by what?
By Daryl's actions at this point.
Well, I'm shocked because
the thing is, like, he wants to be the smartest guy in the room. He thinks he's the brightest boy in the NBA.
Yeah,
he always has been.
Yeah.
Like, you hear things about other GMs being like, this guy's insufferable because he thinks he's a brain genius, offering like the most dog shit trades to me.
Sure.
Okay. So he thinks he hears about the second apron and how all these teams that go deep into the tax have to lock into a core for years, and they're just fucked.
Yeah.
But they have 3 good players. They have basically a super team, which is how the Celtics were able to get Porzingis for like a relatively low offer. Except Sam, I'm with you. Marcus Smart is going to be the reason why the Celtics are going to blow up. They're gonna fist fight like in January. It's going to be over for the Celtics.
Let's go.
Correct. That's correct.
That's
We
correct.
all agree.
But-
We all agree.
But
Every team in the
Either way,
East is kind of
I digress.
Yeah, right.
The Suns just locked into to a core, and their fourth best player is Ish Wainwright. Like he thinks like Daryl thinks that if he just does not do that, which does not do the most obvious move possible for the Sixers as an organization, which is just to do what everyone else is doing. The Warriors are doing it. They just got Chris Paul for no reason.
Yeah.
He thinks that if he keeps this like idea of flexibility around, that like somehow every other Harvard educated GM in the league is going to be shitting themselves, asking for a bailout like their Chrysler in 2008. And he's going to be the mastermind that's taking everyone's money. And it's just not going to happen.
By the way, Dropping Dimes 20 has returned. I turned on my notifications for him, and he just tweeted, "All these accounts are fake. I used to work in the NBA and for big time agency. Just no agent talk and word spread. That's how I know." So he is back.
He did work in the NBA. I do know that.
I know that too. I actually got a DM about that earlier, and someone told me earlier today that he was legit, and I was like, okay, we'll see. And then this happened, and I was like, oh my god. Okay, it's Scout with Brian.
Yeah, that would be awesome. The greatest heel turn of all time.
Let's go. No, back to what you were saying, Parm. I totally agree. I think that this idea, I was all for this idea of flexibility in a Tobias Harris trade, because Tobias isn't like the core main guy on your team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like he's your fourth or fifth best player. He is someone that can easily be moved in or out of a lineup and off the team.
Right.
So like if you're keeping Tobias Harris, it's like the reason why I didn't think that the Ben parallel and the Tobias parallel made any sense, and why I would be willing to take it to the deadline, is because Ben was like such an important part of the Sixers, whereas Tobias is more like an ancillary piece. But like the difference between this is like one, it's better than losing Harden for nothing, for sure. If he had just walked back to Houston, we would have been totally fucked. Like we're lucky that, first off, we're really lucky that every agent is using Houston's cap space as like, they're going to sign apparently every free agent in the NBA. It's like Dylan Brooks, Brook Lopez, Fred VanVleet, Kyle Kuzma, Jakob Poeltl, whatever. We're lucky that they're doing balloon payments so that Toronto and Milwaukee get screwed over in the process. But like them being out on Harden made it so that we can at least recoup some value in a trade. But like, because of what you said about Daryl being the smartest guy in the room, like it just feels like this isn't going to get done anytime soon, and that the Sixers are just going to shoot themselves in the foot on whatever return they could possibly get from the one team that is. And I trusted him with the Tobias stuff because I didn't think Tobias would come back and cause all this drama and do a bunch of bullshit. But like, we know Harden does that. He's done that before.
Let him plug his brand. He needs to plug
Crumble
brand.
Crumble
I'm
cookies?
fine with that.
Wait, what if we got Harden a Crumbles Cookies franchise?
He would love that. I mean, Morey, I was told by people that Morey isn't going to trade Tobias because Crumble Cookies tweeted that everyone in Philadelphia gets a free cookie.
Dude, downtown Indianapolis will never be the same when Crumble Cookies opens up. It's going to be a movie. It's going to be Crumble Cookies at the Indianapolis 500.
Let's go. So that's when we trade him for Buddy Hield. By the way, I do just want to say Buddy Hield fits a lot better with the Sixers now that James Harden is not going to be a Sixer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man, and it's like almost everything he does, Maxey does better, and Maxey's like 8 years younger.
Right.
Like he's super duplicative. I mean, that's kind of his issue on the Clippers, except he sadly has more like downhill juice than like anybody else in the Clippers. But like he also just doesn't make sense. Like his contract isn't awful. Like it's not good either, but it's not terrible. And as the years go by, it'll be easier to move. But like, I don't like how many minutes a game would he play? Like D'Anthony Melton is better than Norm Powell, like significantly.
I know that's what I've been trying to say is like, any trade that we can, and one of the biggest parts of team building that was actually a really hard thing when we were trying to build around the Harden Maxey backcourt is that you have to get a wing back that is like defensively stout. Like you can't get like a Bojan Bogdanovic or like even like prior to this, like a Buddy Hield who like technically can play the 3, but he probably should play the 2 and is like an issue on defense. But like this at least, this does at least give you a little bit of flexibility with your other trades, with the Tobias trade, so that you don't have to just get back like whatever wing or whatever it is. But like it does come back to this idea that like you're not going to get maximum value back for Harden now, and like what is a way to pivot out of this? And I know that was a bit.
Like
no, I was gonna. This is what what I was going to say was, I know that Parm's thing earlier was a bit, well, not to Parm, but the Karl Anthony Towns thing, but like we're looking
That's not a bit. I love Cat.
I know you love Cat, but like everyone else. Look, all I'm saying is there has to be and this is why I feel like we lost our chance with the Bradley Beal contract.
Yeah.
Because the Bradley Beal contract is a guy who would fit on the team that, yes, you would have to overpay. Sure, that would suck, whatever. But he would help you contend while you're possibly losing one of the 20 best players, 30 best players in the NBA and James Harden for nothing. And now, like, the only contracts that are out there that are bad that no one wants are, like, Ayton, who's a center, Cat, who's a center. Like, guys that generally don't really fit with Joel Embiid. So, like, if the Bradley Beal trade hadn't been done right now, we could fucking get Bradley Beal today, basically.
Sure.
Although he does have a no trade clause, so maybe if he just wanted to go to Phoenix, all of this is moot. But it's still, it drives me insane that it feels like they missed their opportunity because of this fact that Harden is, like, he's so fickle. You can't build your whole plan around a guy that's just completely unpredictable. We didn't even think this was ever an option. Like, we thought maybe sign and trade, maybe he walks. But an opt-in and trade where he forces a trade to the Clippers, which is one team that like really doesn't have like things that they can give back to us that make sense. Like, I don't know.
This is worse than him just walking, I want to say, in terms of like.
I don't think it is.
It's okay. It's not because you're going to get assets wise, but in terms of vibes, like in terms of the usability of the roster this year, I don't think it's actually worse for assets because you're going to get something, but it is. Yeah, exactly. It's emotionally worse.
But here's where I would say though, like the thing is like,
if he's stuck on the
Harden
team,
doesn't have he has a little bit of leverage. He doesn't have a ton of leverage.
Right,
like,
but
he didn't have a market. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
he didn't have a market at all.
The problem is that him and Morey will both, even though they're each other's boys, they will both play hardball with each other. Like the Morey version of hardball is, I'm not trading you for a bad trade, and the Harden version of hardball is, I'm getting the fat suit back out.
That's the thing, is that you have another player that's one of the few players in the NBA that you will sit out or will just fucking throw games if he doesn't want to be here.
But isn't the what's the new CBA thing?
Oh my god. Oh, okay. I'm reading this out to everyone. This incredibly blurry.
Tell me the math doesn't work. The math.
Why
works.
is this so blurry?
Yeah, Parm.
I have no idea. That's how it decided to do it. My whole screen's blurry now.
Okay, so it's Tobias Harris, James Harden, Tyrese Maxey for Karl Anthony Towns, Mike Conley. Is that Kyle Anderson?
Yes.
You bet it's Kyle Anderson.
And Jalen? Is that
Jaden McDaniels?
Jaden McDaniels.
We have Jalen.
Right.
After we traded for the market inefficiency, McDaniels, now we get the real one.
Let's go.
You're basically just.
I don't know why I don't know how that math works, but Fanspo is saying it did. Originally, I was gonna not do Mike Conley and do Torian Prince because I thought it sounded better. But then I realized that they just got rid of Torian Prince like 8 hours ago.
I have a question for you. Like,
this is so good.
Two things. Is this the preamble to you trading Joel Embiid and building around Cat?
No,
and
this is testing. All right, so I don't know if I've discussed this hypothesis on this on this platform before. Okay, I believe that we need to test the concept of the horseshoe theory. Every single year, every Sixers fan goes, these guys are losers. They're not clutch. They don't win a damn fucking thing. They get bounced in the second round every year. What a bunch of choke artists. And then we get a new guy who are like, this guy's going to be the winner. Instead, what's the opposite? What if we just got 1,000 choke artists? And eventually, like, what if we added so much pain and suffering that it went around and then all of a sudden it actually worked? Things to consider. I'll hang up and listen.
Okay.
This is literally, but the thing is, Parm, this is literally Harden to the Clippers. Like, that is the Clippers saying, we have so many losers. We are the loser franchise.
Yeah.
Let's add Harden. It's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
For the Clippers.
You have a perennial, you have the ultimate winner in Kawhi.
That's true.
But he never plays.
Right. But the thing is, he still, unfortunately, even while injured, carries winner energy.
Hold on. I feel like, if anything, it's become the opposite, because from everything I've heard, the vibes are not good with the Clippers, and it's largely due to the fact that their stars are just kind of like moping around, and the organization seems kind of miserable.
That's fair.
That's what's been happening. And also, I do just want to say here with this trade, I like that the one winner energy guy we have left in Maxey, you made sure to get rid of him.
Yeah.
Although, are we concerned that Kyle Anderson has too much winner energy?
That's a good point.
We might have to reroute him.
Dances. He did TikTok dances in Memphis. How much of a winner could he be?
Yeah, true.
That's fair.
He's too connected, you know? He's too connected to Taylor Jenkins.
If you want loser energy, then, I mean, center the entire trade around Marcus Morris.
Reroute Kyle Anderson for Marcus Morris.
There you go.
Disagree. Marcus Morris is a winner.
Yeah, Marcus Morris, famous winner.
Famous winner. He was the backbone, one of the backbones, a spinal disc in the hospital Celtics.
And those Celtics were winners.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he was huge.
Did he win a national championship in college? Was he on that Kansas team?
I don't think that Kansas team won.
No, they didn't. That one didn't win. It was the year.
He was a one and done. Well, he is from Philly, so we can't say this about him.
Yeah.
Also, they also fought. Him and his brother also fought the entire football team. So that's how you know that they're not to be messed with.
Do you know who's a real loser?
Who?
Malcolm Brogdon. I'll leave. Bye.
Okay. No, please
No,
no.
I can't do it.
Whoa! Slop, Jake Fisher.
Slop.
Trailblazers are in deep talks to trade for Pascal Siakam.
Oh wow!
I guess Simons and
Simons.
And
It has to be. It's probably Simons, Little, and future picks, I'd imagine.
Yeah, because at that point, like, they're not going to trade Murray, who they drafted with the Knicks pick, so it has to be the future picks. If they send in Scoot, it's malpractice, and they're not doing it. And they're not sending Sharp. They love Sharp.
Why would Masai do this? Like, this is anti-MO. Yeah,
maybe Masai thinks that Pascal is going to defect and come back.
He's so jealous of Winger, dude. He's so jealous of
I think that this is smart from the Raptors. The Raptors running it back after losing the only player.
No. I'm not saying they shouldn't do it. Like, I wouldn't do it if I were the Raptors GM. I'm saying Masai Ujiri, the person, is compromised. He is dead on his floor. And there's someone else who's taking control of the Raptors.
It's fake.
It's
fake.
Yeah.
It's fake.
He saw
we
what Daryl was asking for. It's fake.
Yeah, we got duped.
Okay.
Right,
it's fake.
I was gonna say that didn't make sense. Masai would never trade.
Let's just say it was real for a second. Masai had seen how much Daryl was asking for Toby. I was like, wow, I gotta get my life in order. I gotta get some perspective. Check into rehab, maybe about asking for the moon. Because wasn't Daryl asking for Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen?
This is what he does in every trade, though. He probably called and said, "Hey, we have Harden and Tobias. Can we get Paul George, Terrence Mann, and Kawhi Leonard for him?" That would probably be. This isn't a bit. This is what he does. This is literally what he does. I'm positive that he did it.
But, and I will say, I mean, it's been reported, but I mean, everything I've heard is that there was just no chance that Paul George is in the deal. I mean, obviously not Kawhi Leonard, but like. It just doesn't make any sense for the Clippers to swap them really at all. So, and that's why a deal is tough. I think like Harden for Paul George, like I would do that if I was the Sixers. As much as I'm down on Paul George, like that's a much better fit. with Maxey and
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. It just like you said, the Clippers wouldn't do it.
yeah.
I like how everyone knew that Pascal Siakam thing was fake
Because it was too reasonable.
because it was like, wait, the Raptors are actually making a real trade. They would never make a real trade.
But I think Pascal has hinted that he would be like super, super like pissed if Fred VanVleet leaves, and Fred VanVleet seems like the biggest lock to leave. So like, it is possible that a Siakam trade happens. If VanVleet leaves, like I think there is like an outside chance that the Raptors kind of blow it up. But I mean, Masai is too cowardly.
I'm thinking thoughts.
Okay.
What are you cooking?
I'm thinking thoughts right now. Masai Ujiri doesn't really like to make trades. Except notably traded for, some would call him fat, some would say
Lazy.
injury concerns, someone would call him a locker room cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Traded for him, won an NBA Finals. Could do it again.
Is this Kawhi you're talking about?
I'm talking about
James Harden.
Traded for Kawhi.
Yeah.
Now he trades for James Harden.
Right.
For Pascal Siakam.
But who were you referring to before?
Kawhi. He was talking about Kawhi.
Masai Ujiri
Who's
is
ever called
only
Kawhi
interested in
fat?
talking to the Blazers. Yeah.
Parm.
No, from San Antonio. That was the San Antonio. That was the San Antonio.
Okay.
Madness,
All
you know
right.
what I'm
I see
talking
the vision. I see the vision.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Hold on.
So he's only contacting the Blazers because he knows Daryl's on the phone with Mike Schmitz, talking about Scoot Henderson, and I was like, hold on, let me get in there. Let me get in there. Let me see if I can be the third wheel in this conversation.
Yeah, I mean it's entirely possible.
Push a little propaganda.
Yeah, Canadian Harden would go hard. You know how much he loves those taxes that he's always worried about. So,
Did you guys know there's no
Oh,
there's no state income tax in Texas?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, this is something I've heard.
Texas and Florida.
Yeah. Here I've got one more for everyone. Okay.
I've never heard anyone say that before.
Nope, nobody's ever said that on every podcast ever.
James Harden does love.
God damn it, Sam! I have to fucking edit this out now.
Oh, okay, I forgot about
Copyright strike.
The audience is going to miss the last 5 seconds because of trademarked music. Sam played "I'm Coming Home." Tell the world I'm coming home, and it's James Harden for Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think,
where the
I
process
honestly think
started.
this makes some. I think this actually makes some sense for both teams, to be totally honest. But
I can't believe we're gonna do this again for 6 fucking months because Daryl Morey is the smartest guy in the fucking America.
Trill, did you say that James would not be interested in Canada
No,
because of taxation purposes? Because
Yeah.
I would like to direct you to a notable incident in which James Harden loves France.
Yeah,
He
Toronto-
loves going to the Louvre with little baby.
That's a
It's
good
his
point.
favorite activity.
Yeah.
What is the second best thing that you can be other than
Montreal.
being France? It's Quebec City or
Yeah.
Montreal. You know,
Yeah.
he's going to make Quebec defect from the Canadian Union, and
Well, I
then
mean, they're
never
trying
pay
to do that
taxes
anyway.
ever again.
Quebec is attempting to defect. Montreal does. So for as far as clubs go, Montreal has great clubs. I haven't actually used to dance in some of them. Yeah, no, like it's a good. Sam, why did you?
I'm learning. No, I'm learning much about you, Dredd. This is fascinating. But continue. Dredd is just flexed on all of us.
I'm in love with
It happens. You know, you meet people. It happens. Look, look, the Quebec is attempting to secede at any time. So actually, this is the most plausible thing Parm has ever said. Oh God!
What, Quebec defecting from Canada?
Yeah,
that's
it's been
very
on the
realistic.
ballot for like what 155 years or something.
yes.
Like
Yeah,
they
I mean,
fucking do it every. They don't even have Canadian political parties in Quebec. They like do their own vibe for all the parties.
And they have the revolution in their blood. I mean, they're French Canada for a reason. They're
They
doing
love
They were
bagels.
Huguenots. They were Huguenots. They weren't even the revolutionary French, but it's close enough. They're weird Catholics.
yeah. Sorry.
Which
Sorry,
James
I don't know. I'm not that deep into French history.
Unfortunately, but the reality of it, I think that's kind of funny, is that like the Raptors maybe should try. Like, I kind of think the Raptors should try to get James Harden. I don't think that's the worst plan I've ever heard.
But the problem is Masai is like a persona non grata when it comes to making sane trades, which is why Raptor Slop is banned on this podcast. Like he's going to be like, all right, so how about like Tyrese Maxey and James Harden for Jakob Poeltl and Christian Koloko or something like that. Like
there's a reason why Masai and Morey have never made a trade, to my knowledge. Like those two, it would never get anything done.
Yeah, but what if you knocked both of them out and
let Elton Brand and Bobby Weaver, is that his name?
Yeah.
Let them cook a little bit.
Webster.
Bobby Webster.
Yeah, Troy Weaver, Bobby Webster.
Bobby Webster is also, by the way, chuckling bemusedly at how off their axis they have the rest of the league. He thinks it's funny.
Well, when you lose the last player in Fred VanVleet on your whole team that can dribble, shoot, and pass,
yeah,
and your best creator is,
I love the Bale Ledger style interrogation. You're gonna give me James Harden. You're gonna take Pascal Siakam, and you're gonna love it. Sorry. No, stream has gone off. Normally, Trill would get us back on track, but he's a little too distraught right now.
I went through such a roller coaster of emotions today because originally it was like, holy shit, where they're actually trading Harden. And at first I was like, you know what, this is cool. They'll have like some opportunity. And just as it went on, the more I was like, oh, it's
gonna drag.
It's like kind of over. like there's no way that the Sixers can pivot out of this.
I have a thought. I have another one.
What?
Sam, do you think your GOAT, the greatest general manager in the last 20 years of Boston Celtics history, is interested in another former member of the Oklahoma City Thunder on a $30 million one-year deal?
Also one MVP.
Are we talking about the Mormon?
Yeah.
I'm talking about the Utah Jazz, the Utah basketball Jazz.
I honestly think Danny is such a sicko, like depending on the package, like as long as he like won the trade, he would absolutely do it. But this is another case of like
Daryl and Dan.
two perverts fighting, like this is them locked in a room.
True.
Like Danny and Daryl. I don't think they ever made a trade either.
Rob Pelinka, like Rob Pelinka, there's something going on. You know what I mean? He is the Hollywood cabal. You know what I mean?
I was trying to figure out how much money they would have to sign and trade Austin Reeves for him to for it to be a legal trade for James Harden. And I think it was like $28 million.
And they can't. You can't. I don't even think they can pay him more than $25 million.
Right.
With the hard cap. Yeah.
No, and also because of the rule we talked about, the Arenas rule we talked about.
He is, unfortunately, they cannot give him more than that.
$498 is the max they can offer.
Gilbert Arenas?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's so sick.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that Arenas has ever known for.
Yeah, the most famous thing that Gilbert Arenas has ever been associated with.
That's a really rude way to say that you're not thrilled about Gil's Arena with Josiah Johnson.
Underdog Fantasy, promo code Slop.
Right, yep.
It is an Underdog Fantasy show. Even though every time I see a Gilbert Arenas clip, it's like, I feel like every Gilbert Arenas take, he literally just makes up on the spot, and then he like reverse engineers a reason for it. Yes. Like every time Gilbert Arenas comes up with a take, he's like, Ben Simmons has just gotta, he's just gotta learn how to like dribble like Kyrie. And then they're like, well, he doesn't have Kyrie's handle. And then it's like, well, yeah, but like you don't understand. In order to get into that mindset, and then he just rambles on for like 5 minutes about whatever he was talking about.
Yeah, so I got my undergraduate in chemistry, and I gave a presentation where I was about 5 shots deep, and Gilbert Arenas talks like I talked during that presentation.
He's friends. He's friends with Ball Don't Stop, right?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. I mean, them being friends makes a lot of sense.
So
I was watching that clip of of Bobby Marks that somebody just posted. His trade was truly put our war crimes to shame. It was like one of the grossest trades.
Can you pull it up?
So it is. I mean, I don't want to get us in trouble on playback because it's an ESPN thing. So is that an issue? But it's Marcus Morris, Robert Covington, Batum, and the Clippers 2028 pick for Harden and Tucker. That is vile. That is truly vile.
Jeez. Yeah, I mean, oh my God.
So,
yeah, not even Cork Boss. We couldn't get off the Cork Boss money in that one.
Yeah.
Trill, I have a dark question for you.
Yeah.
Before you ask me the question, I just have to say, someone asked in the comments earlier, can the Sixers get to cap space? The short answer is no, because the Clippers are going to have to send money back to us.
Yes.
In order to make this deal work. And the long answer is, even if you shedded salary in a Tobias Harris deal for like Buddy Hield, like I've discussed, which I think is a possibility, especially now that they're losing Harden, it would be very hard to get amount of cap space where it would really matter at all. Like you couldn't sign good players.
Right.
So yeah. Anyway.
So I have two differently dark questions, but Sam, you sounds like you had a thought. Go ahead.
Well, I just had a thought. I think they could at least get a giant TPE for James Harden.
Enough.
TPEs are actually
I'm being serious though.
The new CBA means you can't have a TPE and an MLE player. I'm sorry.
That's so ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. I didn't know that. That's fucked up.
You can't have a tax MLE, and if you have a regular look, we're not doing CBA. I broke my brain last night reading the whole CBA. Let's not do that. Like, if anyone wants, they can message me. I'll tell them anything they want to know about the CBA.
Okay, but ask a question.
So the first one is, in your heart of hearts, would you have rather Harden walked and you have the ability to just sign Greta Van Vliet?
I don't know. Well, I mean, not if you're paying they're paying him what, $40 million. Like we would have had to just trade Tobias for that, and then you just have Fred VanVleet, Maxey, and Embiid, and it's just like where are you going with that? Like you don't even have any depth because you lost Harden for nothing. And the reason why I'm really mad that they just said we're not interested in Beal from the jump is because you could have traded Tobias's contract just for Beal and then turned around and traded Harden for depth pieces.
Yes, absolutely.
And then your team would be good.
Right.
Then your team would be like conference finals good. And now it's like, okay, you either lose Harden, you might get depth pieces for Harden, but you have to hope that you can turn Tobias into Zach LaVine or something. Maybe, okay, so maybe, all right, let's just hypothetically say here, the one way, and I don't think the Bulls are trading Zach LaVine, but the one way that you might be able to get me back to we're back from it's over is if they were able to get pieces from the Clippers that they could then flip with Tobias expiring in order to get a Zach LaVine kind of player, or along with Maxey and Embiid, because they still need that. Like I love Tyrese Maxey, but like he's not going to be the second best player on a championship team at 23 years old, dude.
Right.
Like that's just not how it happens.
So the
DeRozan's interesting.
Yeah, DeRozan for Harden would actually be pretty interesting.
Well, no, I don't think they're going to trade for Harden. I think they would have to be for Tobias.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah.
So here's the much darker question. Feel free not to answer this if you don't want to. In your heart of hearts, do you think the smart option is to take this as an inflection point and start the blow up?
I mean, look, the logical part of my brain says yes. Like, get ahead of whatever's going to happen until, like, if Embiid gets hurt next year or whatever, it doesn't work. But at the same time, this is not just, like, logic. You have to live in the real world. And if your best player who just won MVP doesn't ask you for a trade, you don't trade him.
I agree.
You just can't do that. But like I said, like I've seen like Scoot, Sharp, Simons picks kind of thing, like that kind of deal. I mean, it would make sense to get back something other than guards, but just if you're blowing it up to smithereens,
Right, just
that kind of deal would make some sense. Okay. All right. Okay.
Parm has pulled up another
Let's go.
180p screenshot for everyone.
Let's go.
All
right.
It is. Do you want to read it or you want me to?
Yeah, I'll read it. The Sixers get back the hometown hero, Markelle Fultz. Also, hometown hero, Michael Carter-Williams, and Bol. And
they released Michael Carter-Williams?
Harrison Barnes just
The
extended.
end of an era.
Wow, really?
Wow.
Wait, what?
Harrison Barnes just extended
Barnes.
with the Kings.
Wow.
3 years, $54 million.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's
Good.
one.
Good
that's
for
one way.
Harrison.
Yeah, it's pretty good value.
He's the
honestly.
only guy that's ever wanted to be in Sacramento. That's awesome.
It's a little
$18
sad
million
that
a year.
that's what they used their first round pick to make space for, but it's pretty good.
They still have $17 million in space, so they could sign someone else.
But it's going to be the Sabonis deal extension too.
Oh yeah, that could be. So they basically just did that to save money, dumping.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they dumped a pick to save money. I was kind of
on draft night.
Yeah, I was kind of excited for them, for the idea of them like going after a Kuzma or somebody interesting, but like, yeah, I guess like dumping when Chris Murray went the pick before them, I guess like dumping that pick to make their 2 extensions hurt less is fine.
This does make the Tobias Harris to the Pacers trade a little bit more realistic, and it's something that I've talked about, because now they're apparently going to try to sign Max Strus is the latest buzz. Mm-hmm. And if they do try to sign Max Strus, remember we talked about it last night on the stream, there are 9 players that have that play the 1, 2, or 3 for them on their roster.
Yep.
So I think that the Tobias to Indiana trade could be realistic. But I'm also just like that trade was still like, if you kept Harden, like, I don't know, a lot of the trades now don't seem as like, oh, we have to make this move now, because it's like, if you lose Harden, what's really the point? You should probably try to maximize Tobias's expiring in another trade, so that you might be able to hold on and at the halfway through the season trade for DeMar or Levine or someone.
Do you just have access to the 2030 pick, or is there one other pick that you have?
We just have 2030.
That's what I thought.
And once again, Rob said 28 and 30 for the Clippers. If they throw in, if the Sixers can't get Terrence Mann and they're like, all right, we'll take 2 firsts just to flip in another deal, they at least then have 3 first-round picks to work with the Tobias expiring. But like, you have to hope that someone gets disgruntled halfway through the year, or a team blows it up halfway through the year.
My non-source take would be that the Clippers would rather trade Terrence Mann than the picks, but
really,
I don't know that for sure.
Yeah, so I think you're probably right. Yeah,
it's so far out, and like, what I mean, Harden, Kawhi, and Paul George are all going to be long retired by 2030. They might all be retired by 2028, and it's like Terrence Mann. I mean, I love Terrence Mann. He's really good. I think like Joel Embiid would love him. Like a Maxey, Melton, Mann trio would be like really
awesome.
Feisty. Would be pretty cool. But like, he is 27. He is on a really good deal for 2 years, so you have that locked up. But like, I think the Clippers would probably rather move him. Like, Ty Lue is known to not trust him very much.
Yeah.
And like, the Clippers stars maybe are also a little iffy on him. That's why they keep asking for veteran point guards to come in and not just start the guy who's better. So I really don't think the Clippers would trade round picks. Honestly, I have a hard time seeing them trade 1 for Harden, which is why like it's so hard to imagine a deal happening.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you're right, because we earlier Clayton talked about the fact that they're going to try to prioritize keeping those first later in the decade, because they have this new arena. And then it's like, okay, we don't have any picks and we didn't win a title and we have nothing to excite our fans. The reason why they went and they got Bones Highland in the trade for nothing was because at least they have some young players, like a young player now that they could be like, hey, at least we have this guy around when like you said, like in a few years, like Terrence Mann's going to be in his 30s, and like that, you can't market him, and he's not good enough to even be that level of like marketable guy. Like, he's just like a fan favorite type. So like, I don't know. Once again, I think that Morey's going to go insane in the next week or so. I'm sure. I don't think he's going to rush to make a trade. I'm kind of over talking about this part of it, just because it's like we're just running ourselves in circles.
I saw. I mean, I'm not a cap guy, but like I think the Clippers, it becomes way harder for the Clippers to make a Harden deal as soon as the new CBA starts. So like I think the Clippers would like really have to try to push to get this done, which is why the Clippers are being linked so much right now.
I absolutely agree.
On Monday?
No, it would have to.
It would have to be tomorrow or tonight.
Like it would need to be like in the next 24 hours.
Yes, because the moment July 1st rolls around, the new CBA rules, including the financial restrictions table.
Yeah.
Page 188 for anyone interested. Page 188.
That's crazy. That's disgusting that you know that.
Yeah.
And 188 through 190.
Explain it.
Well, there's a couple of different things. So first and foremost, there's a bunch of things that basically once you take a specific action, including some of the trading actions, you are forbidden from taking other actions. And so very specifically, if you would take a salary that would put you above a permitted apron amount, all the other legal actions, first of all, that action is immediately canceled. And if you do somehow finagle it to just come in, a lot of your other legal options are done. So for example, I think the Clippers are, how close the Clippers right now to that second apron? Because they're not
very
like
close.
$1 million or $2
right.
over.
So the thing is,
they're really close after Gordon.
They can't legally make a trade that would so one of the forbidden things that you would do if you are over the second apron is you cannot aggregate salaries in a trade. If you would try to aggregate salaries in a trade to make a trade that would put you over the second apron, that is considered a forbidden financial action.
Oh my God. So this is fucking, they're ruining Slop, dude. They're like, you're taking everything that I have from me with this new fucking CBA. Oh my God.
So effectively there are Go ahead.
No, go on.
So effectively the Clippers have until the end of business tomorrow to do anything they want to do for a Harden.
Okay. So
if it's the Clippers.
Right.
And the Clippers are the Clippers are the only team that have been linked that I believe. The Knicks is just nonsense. And the Heat, again, just don't make a ton of sense. It's like the Clippers. I think it's just the Clippers and Morey negotiating right now. And the question is who will break.
Oh, God. James Harden is going to be back on the Sixers next year. We know how this ends. Morey not getting what he wants. And then him going, James Harden is under contract. Like, this is insane, dude.
The Knicks stuff is skeptical to one of the comments. Ian Begley had a thing about how the Knicks were not united in their interest in Harden, which is like Ian Begley's like the Knicks guy. It's like what? That was such a weird tweet. And then he was like, the Clippers are interested in Harden, and he's the Clippers guy all. Like, So I think
he also gets things wrong a lot, to be fair. But
the Brunson Harden combo is just really weird. I don't know why they would trade for Harden when they have Brunson. Really,
it makes no sense
together. But like,
well, I mean, the Sixers could pair Emmanuel Quickley, who was Maxi's backcourt mate at Kentucky, and also more importantly is a calculator rat favorite, which is something that Morey would definitely be appealed to, I would imagine. But he also is, just like Maxey, on the verge of getting a massive extension. Like, he wants over $100 million on his next deal. So, like, are the Sixers going to trade for a guy that they're going to have to extend in a few months along with Maxey? That, like, I mean, he's really good, but and he's much better on defense than Maxey. But like, your backcourt's getting pretty tiny at that point. Is kind of what I'm trying to get at here. So. Yeah. So, all right. So, do we want to talk about any of the other moves? The Harrison Barnes move, that domino.
That moves me. Yeah.
I'm into that. I'm into that for the Kings.
Well, now agents can't use the Kings as salary cap leverage.
Yeah.
Because
but they can use the Pacers. Because that's the domino a little bit. Yeah. Because that was the Strus is only $15 million of their space, supposedly.
Yeah.
So
for what it's worth. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Sam.
That was it. That was all I had to say. Yeah.
I finished the soju, so I'm a little bit off the ether. But I will say, like, so there will probably not be below floor teams this year so we already knew this from the outline document, but you cannot. enter the season below the floor and still get the tax payouts, whereas before you could be at the below the floor and then be at the floor by the deadline.
Yeah, that's what like the OKC and the Spurs did the last
Right.
2 years.
So there's not going to be big room teams this year. So I would expect like any team that is currently below the floor will be at floor pretty early into free agency, I think.
Yeah. So I do think that, first off, the domino effects here, which is why every team is using the Rockets cap space as like leverage to be like, oh, we're gonna get this guy or whoever, is basically now that Barnes is going back to the Kings, and like Dredd said earlier, they're gonna renegotiate the Sabonis deal.
Yep.
So because they renegotiate the Sabonis deal, they'll probably give him a little bit more this year. And if they give him a little bit more this year, because he only makes like what, 22 million, I believe.
Yeah, it's not that much.
And they'll probably give him 30 million. So there goes 8 million more of that cap space. They already lost 18 of it. So then they're left with what, 10 million in cap space, which really isn't. It's just not nearly enough to get like a difference maker player. But like I bring this all around to say, is there a chance that Kyle Kuzma re-signs with the Wizards?
Yeah, I think there's absolutely a chance.
Yeah.
Because, like, at this point, I mean, the Pacers are the only team that could offer him something, because the Rockets are definitely getting Fred VanVleet and Dylan Brooks. Like, that is written in stone. And by the way, they're, no pun intended, but they are, because they're giving Fred VanVleet like 40 million.
Yeah.
And then apparently they're giving Dylan Brooks like 15 million. So that's like almost all of their cap space. If they wanted to get Kyle Kuzma, they would have to do like a sign and trade with, I'm sorry, not a sign and trade. Washington would have to sign and trade Kuzma to the Rockets for Kevin Porter Jr. or Jayshawn Tate or someone like that, just so that they could have the space. Because Kuzma wants upwards of 30 million. And the only way he's going to get that is if he stays with the Wizards or they find a sign and trade with another team.
Right. And I'll say this right now, the Kevin Porter Jr. contract is too valuable to be used that way, in my opinion. Not because KPJ is like, I actually do think KPJ is good.
He's solid.
It's just also completely non-guaranteed contract, which is going to become like a panacea to some team at some point.
Sure. Yeah, that's definitely has an appeal for sure to different teams. But yeah, I just think that it's probably going to come down to like, if Kuzma is looking at trying to get a lot of money, it's either going to be a sign and trade to another team for like I had propositioned before, Tobias Harris. But the problem there is the Sixers aren't going to pay Kuzma over $30 million a year for, and in order to salary match for Tobias, it would have to be over 30 million, and they're just not going to do that. So the market for Kuzma shrinks really fast is what I'm trying to say here. Like, the possibility of Kuzma being kind of the odd man out here feels pretty high, unless Washington is able to find a deal where they don't take on a ton of long-term money and they just take back like either one or two expiring salaries.
Could he go back to the Lakers? Wasn't there something about the Lakers trying to clear cap room? They probably still wouldn't have nearly enough, right?
I don't think that they could do it because they don't have a contract that they could trade.
No, like unless they like
did a balloon payment.
Right. Like can they even get to an MLE?
Yeah.
Like
they're trying to for Bruce Brown is
right.
Is the rumor, yeah.
Can they get to the full MLE? Sure.
Yeah, but that's not, Kuzma's going to go for more than the MLE.
Well, if he's the odd man out, do you think he would go for more than a full MLE?
Well, he could opt into his contract, which is more than the MLE. Or no, he already opted out, didn't he?
He can't opt in. He passed the...
Fuck, yeah, you're right.
Like, if he's fully SOL,
yeah,
would he MLE back home? I mean, I would also rather have Bruce Brown than Kuzma, but Kuzma's still getting the Lakers bumped despite not having been on the Lakers in years.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of look at it like they wouldn't sign and trade him for Austin Reeves. I think that they want Austin Reeves, like I would imagine. Also, it does sound like the Wizards are still going to do some sort of fire sale, probably for Monte Morris and DeLon Wright.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I just don't really see like unless the Pacers are the team, but like even the Pacers would, if they give Max Strus 2 for 30,
Wizards are also still on 16 players on the roster right now.
Oh, you know what they could do? They could just trade Buddy Hield for Kuzma. Buddy Hield's expiring.
Yeah.
They have their whole team is 2s and 3s. Why are you looking like that, Parm?
You're forgetting Mentor.
Because what he Kyle Kuzma's a Piston. He's bringing Detroit basketball back.
Hold on. How much
By
cap space do the
himself.
Pistons have?
By himself, he's winning MVP,
let me
Most
look at
Improved
this.
Finals MVP, and
Let's
he's
go.
bringing real basketball back to the Motor City.
We have Tom the
I
Peanut
was just
in the
gonna
water.
say, Tom. I knew
He's in
Tom was
shambles.
in the comments, and I felt bad for Tom. That Tom
All right,
had to be here for this.
Pistons cap space is $5 million. Okay.
Wait, what?
Wait, $5 million? Is that true?
No.
Aren't they preparing a huge offer for Cam Johnson? Right? Isn't that
Yeah.
the Wizards?
They don't have
Oh,
$5 million. They have way
Right,
more.
no, sorry. I'm forgetting that they have a bunch of things that they are. Yeah.
Pistons contracts. Pull it up.
I'm pulling up the contracts right now. I have
The
it. on
Wizards
Spotrac.
need Marvin Bagley.
All right, hold on.
They've
Yes.
never needed a player
Let's
more
go.
in their entire history. 65 years, they've never needed anyone more than they need Marvin
Dude,
Bagley.
are you
right now.
A Pool and Marv?
Poole
party?
and Marv is
Okay.
real. hoops.
Tankathon?
They're not re-signing Hamidou Diallo. So okay,
No.
so yeah, never mind. They have a lot more cap than I thought.
Yeah.
My numbers were factoring in Diallo for
They
some.
have 38 million
35,
without cap holds. So they could go after Kuzma if they lose out on Cam Johnson. Which, I mean, Will, you're a Nets fan. Do you think that they're just going to match that massive offer for Cam Johnson, which is $25 million a year? And once again, I would rather have Cam Johnson than Kuzma, but Kuzma's unrestricted and Cam is restricted. And it sounds like they're probably going to match. Like, it's $25 million. I would say that's not really that much. So I would just say, yeah, I honestly don't think that Kuzma, I guess Kuzma could end up on the Pistons, but it would take a little bit of time if they're just going to throw a bag at Cam Johnson. It's going to take that locks in your. If you make an RFA offer, that locks you in for a few days, if I remember correctly.
Well, so not if they do it under the new CBA.
Okay.
So the new CBA, for those of you that don't know,
Sped it up.
Yeah, so it is. You have, if you do it before noon, the respondent team has until noon the next day.
Okay, good. Well, that's a good thing then. So you can make. So we actually could get some teams throwing offer sheets at Reeves, at Cam Johnson, at those guys, and then just hoping that the Lakers and the Nets don't match in 24 hours. And then if they don't, then fuck it, we can go spend our cap space elsewhere.
Yeah,
That's going to make it fun, actually.
The longest amount of time you can get is 48 hours. If you do it at 12:01 p.m., they have 2 days to respond.
All right. Well, that might make it a little bit more interesting, I would say.
All fun and games. All fun and games until Mark Cuban talks to a degenerate gambler who convinces him to give Paul Reed $35 million a year. All fun and games.
Monkey paw situation again, where I'm like, man, I just need some slop, and it's like the Mavericks have thrown the full MLE at Paul
They're
Reed.
giving a super max to B-ball Paul.
Rosalind in the comments saying
That's
us
low
to
down
arrest
numbers.
Parm.
One of the greatest pachinko players in the world is currently entering the front office, and he's going to advise Mark Cuban on one of the strongest offer sheets we've ever seen for. Oh fuck! What is his name? I blew the joke. The really bad guy in the Pistons, the guard.
Killian
Cade
Hayes.
guy. Yeah. No,
Like
not
Cade
Cade.
Cunningham.
Not Cade.
It's like, hey,
So, you know who I mean.
yeah, you fumbled the bag.
Killian
dad?
Hayes. Sorry.
My titanium hip king, Killian Hayes.
He's got him and Tua, dude. Those are your
Yeah,
boys.
my goats.
Yeah. All right. So I don't think that the Rockets are going to end up with Kuzma unless it is that kind of machination where it's like that money going back. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, so the Slop Emperor of Dune and himself, Brian Windhorst, just said that few people in NBA history have more experience in forcing trades than James Harden.
He's a seasoned vet in forcing trades. I've been here before, Mr. James Harden. Okay, so the Lakers trying to steal Bruce Brown. This was all on the original docket before James Harden blew up our brains.
Yes.
I
mean, the Lakers be kind of low-key good. Like,
I know, that's what I was thinking, is that like the Lakers all of a sudden have a pretty nice rotation. If they're able to get Bruce Brown, they're going to re-sign D'Angelo Russell for a reasonable contract. They're going to bring back Rui. They'll bring back Reeves. They have Jared Vanderbilt still. Like,
also, that's like a kind of young team for when LeBron leaves after this year. Like, that's not a terrible, like, that's a kind of a fun team to root for.
And also, it's a team where you like, because they're the Lakers and because they're in Los Angeles, they just get away with everything. So like, oh, cool, we built this fun young team, and then if a free agent in 3 years from now wants to go there, the Jason Tatum, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura Lakers are gonna really change the league, is what you're getting at.
They will certainly change the Lakers' fortunes. Jason Tatum, that good luck. Good luck with getting Jason Tatum. I'll be so sad if the Lakers got Jason Tatum. Oh no.
He's one of the fucking 10 best players in the NBA.
Oh no. Don't trade us all the picks for Jason Tatum. No.
Also, you're ridiculous.
So imagine that I just did Sam's lament, but mine is sincere. It's just the same lament, but it's not sarcastic. And now we have the two sides of things.
Just in case we're keeping score here, Sam wants the Heat to acquire Damian Lillard.
Correct. Yes, that's correct. Yes.
And also he wants the best player on his team to go to the Lakers.
If we get something good, No, we just need a legitimate number one option. We've got to cash in one of our number two options to get a legitimate number one at some point.
All right. Well,
I'm not engaging in this one with you, Sam.
Yeah, it's fine. C's fans are not done with Tatum. It's literally just me. I'm the only one. So, this is not a smart thing either. I've been saying this about Jason Tatum for 4 years. I've been iced. Keep going.
Can we talk about something light?
Yeah, let's talk about it, Parm.
Like how the Dallas Mavericks finally are gonna get their guy. The guy that they really truly wanted with the fifth pick in the 2018 NBA draft is now an unrestricted free agent, and he's ready to play.
No,
I've been calling.
Yeah, we're getting Mo.
Let's go.
We're getting Mo. He's not going to be a ringer. If Mo Bamba can't beat out Dwight Powell,
Dwight Powell's a free agent. They don't even have him anymore.
There you go.
So we have Bamba at center, right?
Yeah.
Bamba, is Kyrie coming back in this situation, or is Kyrie leaving?
I prefer not to speak. I prefer not to speak about certain point guards and whether or not they're coming to Philadelphia with a team. You know, I don't want to get myself.
Oh, you're buying Wendy's pitch that Kyrie's going to take a meeting with the Sixers?
Nothing left. I have nothing left. Okay, I have nothing left.
I don't get it.
4 hours ago, I was happy. I was a happy boy in my office thinking about, we can get like O'Shea Brissett for Tobias. Like, that's really sick. And now every nightmare is real.
Oh shit!
You know.
You know, everyone is looking for that
People
big wing.
O'Shea Brissett now.
Yeah. That big wing that everyone that used to play for the Raptors, the name starts with an O. Everyone is trying to trade for that guy right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's gotten to the point where I'm losing my mind a little bit. But
on the Bruce Brown stuff though, like I actually think that's a decent team. Like I think obviously Bruce Brown won't look as good next to a non-Nikola Jokic player as next to
Wait, did Bruce Brown sign somewhere?
No, but the Lakers are apparently trying to clear the full MLE for Bruce Brown.
Jovan Bua said that they are basically like pretty confident they're going to get Bruce Brown, which I know I'm trying not to be libertarian right now, but what are the state taxes like in Colorado? Because
they're not like there is state.
They're not California level, right?
No, they're not.
Yeah, but you're
What?
not. You're thinking about taxes. Bruce is thinking about Dr. Anthony Fauci in Gavin Newsom's America and how much
Oh.
he loves that vaccine because
Yeah.
he'll never let his team down. He'll never
He's
let his
trying to
team down. He'll get Johnson and Johnson, Moderna, Pfizer. He has
So-
all three of them at the same time. The Russian one.
The
What-
state income. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, clearly, what's happening is the Newsom Imperium. The wall is coming for when they secede from the rest of the United States, and the Newsom
Mhm.
Imperium becomes a autonomous zone. And I think James is picking the winners. So he's just got to get to California to make sure he's there. I think that it's as simple as that. Simple as.
For what it
frankly.
For what it's worth, California for Bruce Brown's brackets should probably be somewhere around 10 or 11%. And I just looked it up. Colorado is 4.4 fixed tax rate.
So that's what I'm saying. Is like
The money's not that much more.
the money is not that much more if you're getting. Although maybe Bruce Brown sees some advertising and marketing,
Yeah.
like
Also,
the sponsorship shit. If he goes to the Lakers because you get the
He's
Lakers
getting a
bump.
shoe.
There's a trade kicker
The
on the
Browns?
Harrison Barnes.
Yeah.
There's a trade. Okay, who cares? So they're not going to trade him.
10%. They might. I mean, you can
Maybe.
trade him now. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. I think that's interesting. Anyway.
yeah, but yeah, you're right, Trill. I think dollar for dollar, if we're just looking at salary dollars. So, like, what's the most that he can get from the Nuggets right now?
But Parm does bring up a good point. Kyle Kuzma, at the time, was like the 250th best player in the NBA, and he got his own shoe with Puma
Yeah,
Not
because
only
he was
that,
on
I
the
own 'em.
Lakers. You own a pair?
you fucking
Yeah, I have 'em.
sicko.
Let's go.
They're not in this.
Jason
room, but I
Preston
do have
had a
Kuzma
nationwide
for the
commercial. Jason Preston on the Clippers, not even the Lakers. Jason
Did a
Preston,
nation.
yeah, had like a big commercial that like I was seeing in Philadelphia.
Really?
All right, so Bruce is going for the sneaker. I get that. You're right, Parm.
Did Taylor Horton Tucker get a shoe?
No,
No way. There's no
No.
way Taylor Norton. He
I don't
probably
know
has
because like
sponsorship.
Austin Reeves just got one.
did Austin Reeves get a shoe with who?
Yeah, he has
You
like
know?
a Chinese.
He
Like
did.
he is like a lead. Like
Let's go.
that like Dwayne Wade shoe company, I think. It
Well, we
signed
don't
Austin
support
Reeves. He has a shoe
communism
for
on
them
this
now.
program, so
To be fair,
Yeah.
Reeves is like significantly better than Taylor Horton Tucker. I
Yeah,
mean,
true,
not
yeah.
a high bar,
True, but like at the same brand, you know.
at least Reeves, you know, I mean, he does have the same stats as Mac McClung, if you think about it. So
Oh, we have somebody who claims to be dropping dimes 20 in the chat.
That's right.
Nice, good bit.
Good,
Yeah.
very good. bit. Those are good Reeves shoes. Those look nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the Bruce Brown for the Lakers makes sense for the Lakers. I guess it makes sense for Bruce Brown. I mean, he probably makes. Oh, here's the question: which is better for his career earnings? Playing 2 more years next to Nikola Jokic, or playing 2 years in LA?
Jokic.
Yeah, I think it
Yeah.
is
I think
because like he'll get the Lakers bump, but like who even really got paid on that?
He also like I think the thing
Malik
with
Monk
him
didn't get paid. He got like the MLE.
he might
the
get
thing with
he
the
might go
Nuggets
back to
is-
back.
is like I think they're trying to do what the Clippers did with like all their guys, which is do another year, like a 1-year deal, and then they get the bird rights, and then they can pay a lot
Yep.
more. So I think
Yeah.
actually his potential earnings, if he takes one lower year, he'd be like kind of betting on himself to have another really good year with the Nuggets, which he probably
Yeah.
would. So like I don't know. I mean, I think you need to get more than the MLE, honestly. And I think there have been rumors that teams would give him more than the MLE. But I don't know which teams. But I also saw somebody, or I heard rumors that the Lakers were not like, I know Jovan, who's really connected, did say that the Lakers are confident, but I've also read or heard that the Lakers are not super likely. So who knows?
Is the roster
flop
not
season.
construction?
I mean, I would, if I were Bruce Brown, I would definitely consider going back to the Nuggets because the Nuggets, you'll get the bump of them making another finals run. You'll have the Jokic stat boost thing that he helps you with your stats and the way that you look, and then more importantly, you have the opportunity to do what Bobby Portis did, which was Bobby Portis. Remember, Bobby Portis got that scam contract from the Bucks, and everyone was like, "What the fuck is happening?" And then a year later, he got that crazy—not a crazy, but he got like a good deal He makes like 12 mil a year now, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's what the Clippers did with Mick Batum. Where
Yeah.
after his first year on the team, they brought him back, and it was like other teams were offering him way more, but then they gave him like a 222. So
Yeah.
The big difference with Bruce Brown and Bobby Portis though is the Bucks don't have depth at the position that he plays currently.
Well, we're talking about where you wait.
Like
what do you
Bruce
mean?
Brown. Bruce Brown might also like. I think there's like a world where like he thinks that there's guys that the Nuggets might be interested in playing more minutes next year.
I mean, it's possible that they're just like whatever. We have Christian Brown.
And if he's not like the most selfless man on the planet, maybe he's like, if I foresee a role reduction for myself, might as well just go to LA.
And it's
I
also
would
possible
go the other way though, because the Nuggets still have broken body Michael Porter Jr. And if like MPJ misses out for like 50 games, I mean Bruce Brown is starting or at least playing huge more minutes. I mean Michael Porter Jr. is liable to get injured like at any minute. So
But aren't they going to be super cheap next year? Like I feel like with Jamal getting an extension, Jokic on a supermax, and then if they keep Michael Porter Jr., they still have Aaron Gordon, they still have KCP. Like I don't even know if the Nuggets are going to be able to afford him. Like to bring back Bruce. Like I don't think they might not even, they might just cheap out and be like, we're not giving him $15 million a year or whatever he thinks he's worth.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a really good point.
Oh my God, I just cooked up a brilliant idea.
Oh, let's hear it, Trill. I'm excited.
2020, when James Harden forced a trade, one of the teams that was on that list was the Denver Nuggets, who have a long-term salary that might not age very well, and Michael Porter Jr.
You're sick.
That's coming from Parm.
If it's coming from Parm, it's bad. That I'm sick.
Sick. You're a stick, man. We might as well just get fucking Jonathan Isaac too.
It's like Dennis
Reed.
Reed.
The whole One American Network basketball team.
Let's go, dude.
Make Harlan Hill our general manager.
I'm going to Philadelphia to build a team. Me and a team. We're going there. It's war in Philadelphia.
You've been joking
Rudy
about
Gobert, Isaac, MPJ core.
Hold on.
Look, you've been joking about basketball fascism having reached Philadelphia.
There you go.
Yeah.
We'll really be taking it up the next fucking level with that, though. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the new general manager of the Philadelphia 76ers. Look at this man. He is somehow my age.
Harlan Hill, by the way, for folks who want to look it up, and you should. You should.
Let's go. This guy somehow looks like
world's oldest baby.
Yeah.
No. He has a new look now,
dude. He looks so good. No, I can't find a picture.
Oh my God, is that Baby Gronk? Is this Baby Gronk?
Yeah, Baby Gronk has grown into a huge. Let's go. Harlan Hill, he looks good. Oh my God, dude, he looks so good.
Let's go.
Anyway.
I gotta say, I personally, for our own mental sanity, I'm kind of glad that we're finally getting real slop, because these slop fumes have given us like cosmic insanity.
I read the whole CBA.
We're like Charlie in that episode when he's doing all the like silver paint out of the sock, like, and he's like kind of boarding over the windows in the Always Sunny episode. That's what's going on right now. So this is bad.
I don't know if I would have read all of the CBA between yesterday and today. I didn't actually read all of it. I just read every word that was different between the two of them.
Hold on, quick question. Do we have any predictions for tomorrow? Tomorrow, by the way, if you're around tomorrow, 5 p.m., I'm going live at 5. Anyone is welcome to join that's on here right now, but we're going live for free agency tomorrow at 5 p.m. Fred VanVleet predictions. I mean, do we believe Mark Stein? I mean, because Mark Stein already got the Drummond thing wrong. Yeah. Mark Stein gets a ton wrong.
Yeah, that would be the most awesome move Raphael Stone has ever made, giving $40 million to Fred VanVleet a year for 2 years. That would be the coolest thing of all time. So hilarious.
I saw Raptors Twitter passing around some report from someone who I don't know how credible that like the Raptors were like, oh yeah, nobody's giving him over 30 million, and that they've like in like the last 24 hours been like, are they really going to do this? And they've kind of like tried to like re-engage. I don't know how credible that is. So I don't know. I kind of think he's going to Houston just because that's what we've heard, and Houston has to pay somebody.
Yeah.
Right. They have to. They literally have to pay somebody.
That is the max they can offer him, and I think that's probably like Harden's not going there. From everything we've heard, Brook Lopez sounds like he's going back. The only guys that seem locked in are Dylan Brooks and Fred VanVleet. And the thing with the Fred VanVleet thing is the Raptors are kind of in the same Sixers position the Sixers were in, where they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. Because if they sign Fred VanVleet, they're going to sign him to way more money than he's worth.
And probably more years than
4 years, probably 30, 35 million a year. And then if he ages poorly, you're stuck with the contracts. And if you let him walk for nothing, that is now between Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet, Danny Green, all the guys from that championship team that you just lost for nothing when you could have gotten something for them.
They got something for Lowry. It wasn't good something, but
they got Precious Achiuwa. Okay, fine.
Right, yeah.
But like, no one that makes a difference is what I'm trying to say. It's like Danny Green, losing him in free agency for nothing was tough. Obviously, they lost Kawhi for nothing. Like, they just keep losing guys over and over and over again for nothing. And at a certain point, that's just going to catch up with you. And like, unless you're just nailing your draft picks over and over, which, by the way, they've only had one good draft pick in the last 4 years.
They never are selling. They're never active at the deadline when they should be. And the
Raptors.
Who?
Scotty Barnes.
Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes is
That's
good.
So fun. You can't. I can't believe you're denying Delano. Right?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I can't believe you denied Delano. Like
Did
that.
they even offer him the? I'm sure Cam will know in the comments better. But did they offer him the qualifying offer? Because I didn't see that they had. He's a UFA. They let.
Oh, so he's a Sixer? Fantastic.
Delano Band is coming to save the team. The
so
James
bad.
Harden replacement. By the way, you know who would be a fantastic James Harden replacement? Someone we talked about on a stream recently that the Sixers at one point had his rights. Vasila Micic.
Oh, yeah.
He's coming over.
He's real. Is he actually coming? I saw like, that thing that he said he wants like $15 million a year in a starting spot.
I think I saw MLE. Yeah.
Let's go. Micic
But like,
is
is that like
we're trading
do
for him
you think
again?
Anyone's gonna do that? Like, give Vasila Micic a starting role?
Daryl Morey. He's calling me. He's calling Presti saying send him back.
He is Enron Daryl. He is Enron Daryl. That's so true.
He's gonna bring him in and be like, we have at the end of the bench we have Filip Petrusev, who won the Adriatic League MVP. And in our starting lineup, we have the EuroLeague MVP, two-time EuroLeague MVP, if I remember correctly, Vasila Micic.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
There's another consideration to make here, by the way. Daryl Morey might be running his life like Howie from Uncut Gems right now, because with how deep he was in like various cryptocurrencies and everything like that. So he could be like way behind on some of this stuff, and this could be like where some of this is coming from.
He's like, wait, Harden opted in, but he wants a trade? Fuck, I've been
All right.
I've been mining Bitcoin all day.
First round picks. Oh, no.
It might be, genuinely speaking, the what was your attempted NFT cap evasion scheme?
Fanatics.
Fanatics, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Now the Fanatics isn't worth anything.
I know the Fanatics money's dried up a little bit. It didn't work for Harden. It didn't keep him around. Who's Julia Fox in this metaphor? Joel Embiid. He's the muse.
I was. Thank you. I was Daryl Morey's muse.
It's clearly Lawrence Frank. Does he even still work for the Clippers? I don't even.
Yeah, he does. He's the GM.
Yeah.
Yo, keep in mind, Rob, you might be able to back me up on this. Lawrence Frank kind of done a shitty job recently.
The last year has been really, really bad.
Yeah,
like extremely bad.
The Eric Gordon thing, which we didn't even talk about, Eric Gordon, which
I
they
thought you were
should
going
have
to say Eric Gordon was the James Harden replacement.
Oh God, please no.
Oh no.
Not another former Rocket. At least
you-
get fucking creative.
Are you trying to harm Trill?
Rob, So the Eric Gordon thing, which we didn't even talk about, he gets declined obviously because he would have cost $100 million to keep because of the tax implications, which is kind of hilarious. But they traded at the trade deadline. At the time, it didn't really seem like that big of a deal because it was like, oh, they traded Luke Kennard in seconds. But then it came out, and they got seconds. I'm sorry. They got 3 seconds, but then it came out later that they did a pick swap with the Rockets. And the pick swap dropped their pick from 20 to 30. And normally in that range, I don't really care. I generally think it's the same level of prospect. But then you had Cam Whitmore fall all the way to 20, and everyone viewed him as a top 10 prospect going into the draft. And then
they weren't gonna take Cam Whitmore though. That's the thing. That's what I've been telling all the Clippers fans who are like, oh, they were gonna take Dariq Whitehead, who I also like. But
I like Dariq Whitehead too. But like if I would have taken Cam Whitmore over Dariq Whitehead, but like I think it's pretty easy to say that. But the funniest part about this to me is that the player that the Clippers selected at 30 was a guy that was available like pre-draft. He was mocked from like 40 to like 50. Like you probably could have got him. You probably could have traded back and got him, or just acquired some second round picks and got him. So instead of getting a potentially top 10 prospect of the class, you end up with a guy who, like, I actually thought Kobe Brown would have been a fine second round flyer, but like you end up with a guy who is several tiers below him as a prospect for half a season of Eric, not even 20 something games of Eric Gordon.
I mean, the thing about the Clippers is like the worst part of their tenure has been the drafting, because like they hit huge on SGA in 2018, and then big win on Terrence Mann. But outside of that, I think Lucas messaged us in our 213 group chat that like the Clippers I think have 2 draft picks from the last 10 years that are still in the NBA that are not on their current team. Yeah, like it's Shea.
Diamond Stone.
Daniel Aturu.
Yeah, he's not in the NBA. He's in the G League.
Jerome Robinson.
Is Daniel Aturu in the G League? I'm shocked he's not playing in like Portugal or Germany. I'm shocked he's in the G League. He was like one of the wasn't he like notoriously like one of the worst players like they've ever had?
He was not good. When he was drafted, Rob was like, Xavier Tillman was drafted a few spots after him, and Rob was like, Xavier Tillman was in the same conference as him and destroyed him in one matchup, if I remember correctly.
Well, the funniest thing is that I think the pick was originally a Knicks pick, and the Knicks drafted. It was like the Knicks have drafted Daniel Aturu. I'm like, that's the worst pick ever. And then a minute later, it was the Clippers have traded for the 33rd pick of the draft, and I was like, oh my god.
Kevin was on the pod last night and literally told that exact story you just told, but about Doug McDermott and them trading up for Doug McDermott.
Yeah, he was like, oh, who would take Doug McDermott at 10? What idiots. And then the Bulls traded the picks that became Nurkic and Gary Harris for him. And Gary Harris was like by far the best prospect of that group. He was like the guy who fell in that draft, and before the injuries looked like he could have really been something.
Man. So. The Clippers have been bad this past year. I mean, the thing is like you talk about like the loser energy is like the Clippers they were like so shell shocked from the bubble that they've tried to go like super hard the other way, which is like and throughout the Lawrence Frank tenure, it's been like we need guys who like work hard and are professionals. And they're just like, forget talent, like forget actually drafting guys who are like good at basketball. It's just like, we need hardworking professionals.
So they're trying to do their own version of the Heat culture thing, which is honestly, it is at least showing that they're willing to go completely back in the opposite direction by acquiring James Harden.
Right. Well, what if they Heat cultured James Harden?
I mean, if that would be the thing. If the Heat actually did acquire James Harden, I'd probably blow my brains out because we would see a 4. Yeah, Jimmy would kill him. Good point. But we would rewind 5 years and he would be MVP James Harden again somehow if he went to the Heat.
I'd like to point out that Trill said he'd blow his brains out. Dred said parody, and Trill said no.
No, I would actually kill myself in that situation.
This is real.
Why? If James Harden goes to the Heat and he turns back into an MVP, I will shoot myself in the head.
Dude, Alzheimer's Pat is not breaking out the BMI calc anymore. He's done with that. He's taking naps after Wheel of Fortune. Like, it's over. It's
Yeah, no,
over
you're
for
right.
BMI in Miami. Kyle Lowry didn't lose a single pound in
They
2
just made
years.
Buddy, they just made it to the finals.
Yeah, but he's not fat.
Yeah,
He's still like a little pubster. Like, it's that, you know what I mean? Like, maybe he'll figure out how to be good at basketball, but you don't have to
Kyle
worry about
Lowry-
the body mass index.
Kyle Lowry's powers come from being a little chunky.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Like Boris Diaw.
which is why he didn't
Yes.
fit with Keep Culture because Pat Riley, as Parm has pointed out before, is always trying to force eating disorders on his players and stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. He does
Also-
that. He does that in between hunting men on a private island with an elephant gun.
Let's go. Not even sure if this is real at all, but I needed to bring it up just to make fun of Pat Riley, which is that Riley couldn't sell the owner on the tax consequences down the road on acquiring Bradley Beal. So we're looking at a situation where this just proves that Riley's washed. Because I was dreading them acquiring Bradley Beal which would have ended up being
Pretty
literally
good for them.
it would have just been Kyle Lowry. Because look at what the fucking Suns traded. They traded just Chris Paul and like Landry Shamet or whatever and some swaps. And like they would have basically had to give up. They would have still had ammunition to go get someone else if they made that trade. And now they're looking at a situation, we talked about it last night, they're going to waive and stretch Lowry if they can't trade him for Dame to save money on taxes.
I just want to point out that Ben had a really good one that I want to read out here. That the BMI Heat culture lost in the finals to both Boris Diaw and Nikola Jokic. We were talking about this.
Let's go.
The Husky lads are.
Did the Lakers have anyone
2-0.
thick on that team? I don't think so. The bubble Lakers.
No, I don't.
No.
I don't think so.
AD was a little chunky at that point from the time off, like a little bit chunky.
No.
That was he
Doesn't
came
count.
back big. I would say the next year was when he came back big.
Can we talk about LeBron as being chunky, or are the black sedans going to show up outside my house?
Yeah.
Well, they already got dropping dimes today.
LeBron has never been hefty.
Is Mark?
He's
Does
never
Mark
been hefty.
Morris
Heftiest LeBron has ever been is when he was on the Mark McGuire juice in 2013.
For the
They had
podcast
Dudley.
listeners, by the way, I am allowed to talk about heftiness without this being fat phobia because I am a certified tubbo and I love it. So
we're very pro. We're anti-fat phobia. We're pro-fat.
Yeah.
I
expression.
am big and
Fat
beautiful.
pride.
No,
Exactly.
I also want to. I kept saying Diamond Stone. The player I was thinking of was Bryce Johnson. So I apologize.
Hold on,
Diamond and silk.
Yeah.
Rob. Who are the players that is it Reggie Bullock and hold on, let me guess. Reggie
Yep.
Bullock is one of them that's been drafted. That is, and the other one is shit. I can't even think. Who the fuck did the Clippers draft that? Oh, well, Shea. Yeah, but Shea
Yeah,
doesn't.
that's it.
Oh, it's just Shea and Reggie Bullock.
And Reggie Bullock, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and Terrence
Yeah,
Mann.
like-
but
But
Well, no,
Terrence
that
Mann's
are
on
not
the
still on
team,
the
though.
Clippers. That are not still on
Yeah.
the Clippers.
That are not still on the Clippers.
Oh,
But
okay.
like Terrence Mann's the only one on the Clippers that they drafted, except for guys who haven't really played.
Yeah,
No, I
after
mean, there's-
Reggie Bullock, it was
CJ
CJ Wilcox,
yeah.
and then Bryce Johnson, David Michino, and Diamond Stone. Then it was Sindarius Thornwell and Jawan Evans, which, to be fair, I love that draft. I thought those were both really good picks. And then it was Shea and the legend, the god, Jerome Robinson.
Instead of Michael Porter Jr., who they were interested in, but
Or
passed on him
literally
because of
anybody. Like, Jerome Robinson was like 35 on my board. It's like
Yeah,
they
he
could
was
have had
terrible.
Kevin Herter. They could have had Dante DiVincenzo.
Yeah.
Like,
Who did they trade the Quentin Grimes pick to the Knicks for? What was that?
That was Marcus Morris.
Darius in the league.
That was a draft night trade.
No, it was way before the draft, right?
it was,
So why
they
is
traded
it-
a first-round pick for Marcus Morris.
Yeah.
And I think that
It was
pick
Mo
ended up
Harkless.
becoming-
Yeah, and then that became Quentin
Okay.
Grimes. Yeah.
Okay.
Also, Lucas is in the comments now pointing out that Reggie Bullock was actually 11 drafts ago, so it's technically 2 of 19 on their last 19 draft picks. They've only hit on Terrence Mann and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
Every time you say diamond stone, I think you're saying diamond and silk for some reason.
The Clippers have drafted Diamond and Silk. They're like, isn't one of them dead from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
R.I.P.
COVID.
By the
Allegedly.
way, I will say that part of that horrendous hit rate is just that they made like 4 first-round picks. Like most of those are second-round picks.
Well, they just
agreed, but like,
hold on. But they've never made a good process pick except for the ones that Rob brought up, is what he's trying to say. Like Rob, every year in the draft, Rob's like, that was a horrible pick the second it happens.
Okay, yeah.
And there are guys on the board. Like the Oturo pick's a perfect example. Xavier Tillman was 2 picks after him.
Yeah.
And he was just like bad in college. Like he wasn't even good.
No, Oturo, he was like fine in college, but like it was clearly not an NBA prospect because like his whole thing was just being like a post player. And like the Clippers, the funniest thing, the Clippers have had, I think, 4 picks between 27 and 33, which is like a decent range. Like you should be able to get like a decent player, like not talking the star. And they have been Fiondu Kabengele, Daniel Oturu, Jason Preston, and now Kobe Brown. I mean,
that's tough.
It's bad. It's like,
and they're like out of the league within 2 or 3 years. Usually.
Yeah, that's not great.
Yeah, I mean the other thing is like those are all bad value. Like you mentioned Kobe Brown being like I'm okay with Kobe Brown. He's not like a bad prospect, but it's like he would have been available 10 picks later, probably.
Yeah, Daniel, you could have easily done what the Celtics did and just traded back twice and gotten more picks.
Exactly. Like Daniel Oturu was going to be available at 40 or 43. Like same with Jason Preston. So yeah, the Clippers draft.
Every time I think about him, I think about the My League lineups I used to run where it would be him and Omari Spellman front courts. Just chuffing up the most disgusting hoops you've ever seen. It would be like those two at Bonga.
Dude, Omari Spellman
that would be my trio.
He's the only Villanova player to get to the NBA and just like all you ever hear about Villanova players is like they work hard, they fit in systems, they're smart players. Omari Spellman got to the NBA and was like, I don't care about basketball at all. He was out of the league
not gonna lie.
He got traded 3 times? Mm-hmm. And then he was out of the league.
I will say Amir Coffey is legitimately decent.
Yeah, no, I know. You said it before. I trust you. So when he's on the Sixers next year, we're gonna get all right. So we're taking Amir Coffey, Brandon Boston, Terrence Mann, and Norm Powell for James Harden. Let's go. Rebuild is on, baby.
Look, like I mean, again, coming back to the Clippers, because like I think if a deal's gonna get done soon, I think it will be the Clippers because I think they're the team that is in the most rush. Like they're like. I was going to say they're worst packages. I mean, it's going to be a pretty bad package, but like people make fun of Nick Batum. Like Nick Batum is like a good rotation player. He's old. He can't play that much. Robert Covington is still like a good rotation player. Again, he's not what he used to be, but like he's still like a guy you can give 20 minutes. He'll be good. Like the Clippers have some depth guys, but like, again, Norm Powell is just not who you want as your James Harden replacement.
And I also just want to say from the Clippers perspective, if you are trading for James Harden, your best players can never stay healthy. So the depth has been important just to make the playoffs. Like now having Harden will help because Harden's still good in the regular season and will carry you to some wins. But like, I don't know. I feel like if you gut your depth to trade for James Harden and you don't have a lot of flexibility spending wise in other spots, then you're going to just be in a situation where like if Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are hurt again, like does it even really make any sense for either team?
And that's why like you can keep going round and round. And I mean, I don't know if a deal is going to happen, but like the Clippers don't want to trade their future picks because they have no future. At all. Like they've traded all, but at the same time, like you said, like if they're gonna kill all their depth to build around Harden, PG, and Kawhi, like they need some veterans, to like back them up. So it's tough. I don't know. I think Morey would need to love somebody on the Clippers like a lot, and like it doesn't seem like Terrence Mann because honestly, if Terrence got it done, I think the deal would have been done already. So
I agree with you.
God damn it. Morey, please just trade for Terrence Mann so I can have fun watching basketball again. That's my big part about this is like, if the Sixers aren't going to be contenders, please just give me fun players. I don't want to watch
Terry Rozier.
Yeah, love it. Give me Terry Rozier. Give me literally anyone who is fun. I don't want to watch PJ Tucker and Tobias Harris anymore. Like, I just free me from this hell.
You can get Bones. Bones is fun.
We have Bones at home.
Yeah.
Is
We just
Turk.
signed him after the draft.
Yeah, we got Turkavian.
I gotta actually ask: is Bones? I've heard that Bones is not fun. In fact, and that's a major issue.
But like he's fun on the court.
He's fun to watch. He's fun for
Yeah.
fans.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's like it's an interesting situation because like the vibes his rookie year were all great. Like everybody loved him, the fans loved him, the media loved him. It seemed like players on the team loved him, and it all kind of went south really quickly. I will say like a Maxey Bones lineup together would be absolutely incredible television. I mean, they'd get scored on like every single trip down, but they might score every time going the other way. I don't know. It would be fun.
I'm here for it. Turk off the bench, Maxey man at small forward.
It would be
Boats.
Ball Don't Stop would be the number one Sixers
God.
fan.
You're
Let's
right.
go.
You would just convert Ball Don't Stop into a Philly. He would just move to Philly. He would get really into what do you guys have? Wawas?
Yeah, we got Wawas.
Yeah, get a Wawas going. You get a Wawas sponsorship.
Let's go.
Oh, don't ice me for not knowing what sandwich shops you have in Philadelphia.
One of my favorite tweets ever was from my buddy Joe a few years ago, and he goes, "I've never been to Pennsylvania, but I don't want to go there because all they do is argue over which gas station has better food."
That's Sheets and Wawas, which I know.
It's true. Sheets and Wawa.
In Massachusetts, when I lived in Worcester, we had honey farms. That was a good one. I love honey farms.
Never heard of it.
They got Cumberland Farms out there too.
I know Turkey Hill. I know Cumberland Farms.
Cumberland Farms. Cumbies are good. A good
Cumbies?
Yeah, we call them
Yeah.
Cumbies, yeah.
Yeah, they sell cigarettes to children.
Yeah.
Let's go.
That
Cumbies.
is allegedly where I got my first cigarette. So, like, I don't smoke anymore. But yeah.
Individual cigarettes, like they're just selling them 25 cents a pop.
Basically,
I love that.
you get an Arnold Palmer and some Lucy's.
Yeah, that sounds great. That sounds great to me.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else? Scrub the last one. I already talked about killing myself. I don't think selling cigarettes to underage
you do have to edit out the coming home part at some point.
I do. Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, who did that?
Yeah, I was.
Step forward, whoever you are.
Wait, Trill,
I'm
I
gonna
have
be real.
a question.
I've had 2 markers in my hand for the last half an hour, thinking about doing a ripping marker and talking about Karl Anthony Towns bit, and I was like, I can't put you through that much editing.
Okay,
I can't huff Sharpie on the broadcast.
Will YouTube pull us for that? Mark,
I don't know,
sorry.
but I don't want to put you through that.
Rob, what were you gonna say?
I mean, you mentioned the Nuggets deal, and I mean, I don't think the Nuggets are there any dark horse teams? Because theoretically Harden has to accept a deal, right?
Exactly.
So, but I can't think of I've been thinking of what other teams there could be, but I can't think of any. But you guys are better at the trade massacres, so.
I'll say this much: if there's one dark horse team, I do think it probably is the Chicago Bulls. I know we talked about the Bulls a lot last night, but yeah, I know the Suns said that they were interested in Kyrie today, which is just first off, that's impossible. That's not going to happen. He's never going there. That's not going to work. They don't need any more guards, but the Bulls are the kind of team that they might look at. The problem with the Bulls is that you could probably get DeMar, I would imagine, back for him. But I don't know.
It's another expiring at the very least. At least you're not committing yourself to bad money long term with that. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, and DeMar's good. DeMar would certainly be good on the Sixers, but then obviously the playoff thing that you would
but James isn't winning you playoff game. Well, he won you 2 major playoff games, but he's not winning you playoff series anyway. So DeMar's fun. You take a lot of mid-range shots. It probably takes a little bit less load off Embiid in the regular season. I don't hate it actually. It's not great. It's just
yeah. I mean, I definitely like it better than the Celtics getting DeMar, which would for Malcolm Brogdon, which would be my nightmare. But Parm says we can heal Lonzo's knee.
Of course, we can heal Lonzo.
Look, I can talk.
The healers org. We are the pinnacle of health.
We tried to kill one of our draft prospects.
Parm, I'll go talk to the
Okay. We can't do sesame oil related ailments. The other ones, though,
we can
not
do.
bad.
Can we do some sneaker related knee injury? Possibly.
healed Harden's hamstring.
Did you?
Ben Simmons had a perfectly functional back until he went to the Nets.
Wow, you might be spitting.
Joel Embiid, the most
Yeah.
ailed center of all time, healed.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Uh,
I actually think Parm is cooking here.
Markelle Fultz. Let's not talk about Markelle Fultz. I didn't consider that one
You
before.
can't heal
starting this
brain
narrative.
injuries, is what you're saying. But you can heal the body, but not the mind.
Yeah, only the injuries of the body, not the soul.
Yeah, we couldn't fix Ben Simmons, and Ben Simmons had.
No, but he was perfectly healthy the whole time.
Well, yeah. but again, like we know that Ben Simmons' ailment was located in his lower back, but that's also where his soul is located.
Yeah,
as we know from our soul chart.
Yeah.
Can't fix allergies. Oh my god!
Did you see he's not playing for Australia again?
Also, I just want to say before that, last point on the Sixers thing here. How many games did Andrew Bynum play after he left the Sixers? He was out of the league pretty shortly after that. Just saying.
Sure.
So maybe you do have a chronic supply.
He never played any games for us either, but that doesn't count. So there was something else that Parm said. Parm, what'd you say? I can't even remember.
What, that we can heal Lonzo? That he can be healed?
He can be healed.
That I trust Asia Rivera to heal him?
Simon Rice is going to cleanse him?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I will ask this as a semi-serious question before, like, if there's any other talk. But like,
I'm probably gonna need to go soon.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm getting tired.
Yeah. All right. Well, then I'll just ask: what is your ideal tomorrow? You wake up and Harden news has happened. What is the thing that makes you happiest, Trill? Is it that he's decided to just play it out? Is it that he's decided to, or is it that the Clippers deal has come through? Is it something else? Like what?
It's got to be the Clippers deal, right? Like, I mean, like. What else is there?
It's him releasing a power ranking of his favorite Prince albums.
What if
he's going to Minnesota?
What if you wake up and you see the rabbit from Donnie Darko, meaning that you are never going to survive to see the trade? The jet engine will crush you.
Let's go!
Movie. There you go. So that
actually, you just explained it perfectly.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is that the best case scenario here?
Once again, just give me fun players. It's over. The window's closed.
Can I just say something though? I will say Daryl Morey is kind of the king of. It's tough to see how Daryl Morey is going to wriggle his way out.
I know that's true.
Yeah. And Daryl wiggles his way out very easily. Well, nevertheless, So I wouldn't count. It looks grim, but I would not count the Sixers out right now.
The zombie Daryl can never be counted out.
Right. I'm counting out touchdown Tom.
I'd say you cannot count down touchdown.
Dealing
Daryl, yeah.
You can't get out there. Look, maybe he cooked something up and we get a. Yeah. I don't want a Tobias for Kyrie sign-in trade, but I know he would have to do something like that. I'm just telling you.
In the chat, somebody just put a James Harden for Ben Simmons trade.
Let's go. Coming home, baby.
We love it. Going back.
Love it.
It's very funny. All right.
Jaime Jaquez and Tyler Hero and Kyle Lowry for Tobias Harrison, James Harden, and PJ Tucker. Wait, what is happening? Oh, we also get Paul George? Wait, no, this is a different this was a response. Hold on.
This is the Heat trade I came up with looked like this.
Oh, I would do that.
I can't read that trade because Brian Jacobs has me blocked.
Well, I can read it for you. So it's Duncan. Oh, you have it up right now. Never mind.
No, that's not Brian Jacobs' tweet. This is my trade. So it's Duncan Robinson, Victor Oladipo, Caleb Martin, and 2 first-round picks for James Harden to the Heat.
Call it in right now. I'm not even a Sixers fan, and I'd call that in right now for the Sixers.
I think the Heat would offer something like this. You just got to not take back Tyler Hero.
Sure, why not?
I'm sorry that by me calling it in. I was about to say, I'm sorry by me calling it in that kills Trill, but then the Trill AI can take over the podcast.
That's a good point.
Me calling it in. Call Bridges wants to be a Sixer.
Martin is literally the greatest Celtics playoff opponent of all time. So you will be going to the finals.
That's a good point. And Duncan Robinson's movement shooting, you get 2 extra picks. Yeah, let's go. Victor Oladipo can wear cool suits on the sideline and make R&B music. Looking for the vibes. Man, I feel like I started this podcast very mad, and now I'm just tired. I'm just tired of James Harden, and would like to come to. I would like this to come to a resolution in the next 24 hours, so that we're not sitting here for the next 6 months doing what we did. Honestly, that's what got the podcast popular in the first place, so maybe I should want that, but still.
Right, but do you want success or do you want joy?
I don't know. I don't know what I want, but I want this to be. I want us to have. So we want Slop, and I want something final. I want to know where they're going with the team. I don't care about
You heard that.
flexibility.
Trill wants something very final. And remember what he said earlier in the podcast.
I don't know. I
He's
don't like
giving us all the signs. we need to protect Trill at all costs. Daryl, Trill's blood is on your hands if you do this.
All right. Thank you for joining. Thanks everyone for coming. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back 5 p.m.
Solidarity
for
drill.
the free agency stream. Maybe James Harden will be traded by that point. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for coming. Peace. Appreciate it. Oh, please don't even absolutely never. I do not want Julius Randle on the Sixers. Goodbye.